Okay, guys, we are live! So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly, what am I going to be? I can't remember what they call the game master in this. I'd say glorious master, but that sounds too self-serving. I'd say wrathful master, but that is too foreboding. So perhaps we'll just say I'm your ruinous master for tonight, because tonight we are going to be trying out for the first time Cubicle 7's outstanding Wrath and Glory Warhammer 40K role-playing game. This is something that was originally published by Ulysses Spiele, and then they lost the license. Cubicle 7 picked it up, and they made changes to the game. They released completely with a new art and new layout and some changes to the rules. And it is one of their two Warhammer 40K RPGs that they currently offer, and one which I have yet to play. And tonight, because we were down some of our crew in our Rogue Trader game, we decided to use Wrath and Glory for the first time to try and check in on another part of the Coronis Expanse and play a session with our regular stars of the Rogue Trader campaign, playing different characters as part of the same dynastic family. So let me introduce you to those players, and then they can tell us who they're going to be playing for tonight. First up, we've got James.
Right, I'm James, and I'm playing Desura, a sanctioned psyker of the Aquari clan, as it were, well, working for the Aquari, and I'm an Adeptus Telepathica.
Nice. And joining James is Jeffrey.
Everybody, I'm Jeff, and I am playing Ignatius Aquari, who
Aquari
is obviously a relative of some sort of Sean's character.
Yeah.
Captain Aquari.
Absolutely. So for those, apologies for those who were going to be joining us live too. We're starting about an hour late, and that's because we were going through just some discussions initially of how the game plays. I have never run this game before, so I for sure am going to be screwing up a bunch of rules tonight, no doubt. So I do apologize for that ahead of time. I can guarantee you that between the time we record this session and the time that you might want to leave a comment, try and correct us on this, I will have learned my mistakes, so we don't need to hear from, this is how this was supposed to work necessarily. That will not be helpful for us. But we do, it seems like a really interesting game and a really interesting system, so I thought we would just jump right in. Then, guys, our session opens. You may remember, oopsies, I grabbed something instead of selecting it. You may recall from previous sessions that you guys had visited aboard the Mortis Probati, the vessel owned by Captain Aquari. You visited a place called Footfall, and Footfall was a system where, let me get to the right layer here. There are a series of interconnected kind of like chunks of land that have been strung together in the blackness of space, where a bunch of, there we go, heretics, and it's sort of the, even for 40K, it is the very Mos Eisley of destinations in the Coronis Expanse. If you're joining us for the first time and you haven't been watching any of our Rogue Trader campaigns, the Coronis Expanse is a new and vibrant area of space that the Imperium has relatively recently begun to put a more pronounced presence in it. It is hidden behind a very challenging entrance called the Maw to navigate through from the neighboring Calixus sector. Is the Calixus sector that's nearby, right? That sound right? I think so. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
But in any event, the this Footfall is one of the first destinations for traders and whatnot to refill their, to repair their ships, to pick up crew, to trade secrets and hide them from other rogue traders. And the Aquari dynasty, the House Aquari, Rogue Trader dynasty, has a fairly substantial presence here, and the hopes are pinned on our Captain Aquari. I actually cannot remember what Sean's character's first name is, because we never call him by it. Do you guys remember what it is?
I don't even remember saying it ever.
I was going to look it up before we started, and then I just lost track of time.
Oh god, that's so funny.
So what we're assuming is that Ignatius, you are a factotum for House Aquari, which means you're sort of like a troubleshooter. One thing I forgot to mention before we went live, though, I mentioned that you have augmetics on you. There's augmetics are cybernetics. One of them is subdermal plating, so it's already included in your character. Your toughness includes the subdermal plating that you have on yourself. You've got effectively like metal plates underneath your skin. And the other thing was a Auspex sensor. So here's what the Auspex is: a versatile handheld scanner that can detect numerous phenomena with a high degree of accuracy. As a combat action, you can detect energy emissions, motion, and other signs of life within 50 meters.
Oh, interesting.
So that's what's implanted in your noodle there. Desura has been assigned as she is not an astropath, so she's not suitable for service on one of the rogue trader vessels. But that does not mean that a sanctioned psyker cannot be of value to a rogue trader house. And she is serving as kind of your bodyguard, pet psychic. I will leave it to you guys to tell us how you think the interaction between the two is. Are you guys were you thrown in together recently and now you're just trying to do a job that you've both been assigned, or have you known each other before? Were you thrown together by circumstances and you chose to bring her with you, Ignatius? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's by choice.
What do you think, James?
We've been on more than one mission. Yeah, we could maybe have done work together for a while.
Yeah, I think so. That makes sense to me.
I think your mic is a little... Yeah.
Me?
All right.
Not James.
No, not you, James. And James had a sip.
Yeah. I think we've worked together a few times, and there's at least a level of trust. It's kind of we've been caught up in some
It's always best to trust someone who can read your mind.
Yes, that's true.
Did you come together in the Coronis Expanse, or did you come together elsewhere and then came here?
Oh, that's interesting. I think we journeyed here together.
So you guys
I don't
are
know. What do you think, James?
old companions?
Yeah, okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
Enough, yeah, that we've journeyed here together, yeah.
Ignatius, you are relatively new here, though. So you guys will be still trying to find your place, dealing with rival rogue trader houses, plus whatever other bizarre, freaks and mutants and whatnot that are found within the different corridors and satellites and whatnot of Footfall. For those who are unfamiliar with Wrath and Glory sets the kind of relative power levels of the different characters you can play between 4 different tiers, from tier 1 up to tier 4, and within each of those there are 4 ranks that the characters advance through. That allows you, in theory, to play everything from gangs fighting one another in a hive city all the way up to playing Primaris psychics taking the battlefield against manifested greater demons. It gives a nice sliding scale, so you can kind of have a wide spectrum of different types of characters that you can play within the same role-playing game. There's also rules for advancing between the tiers. I have not used those. They seem a little suspect to me, but having never run the game before, I could be completely wrong about that. But the characters we're playing tonight are tier 2, rank 1, so brand new characters at tier 2. So, guys, what you have been doing, Ignatius, as of late is sort of fielding some of the new interest. You know that the Mortis Probati left not long, several weeks ago, I suppose. I'm trying to think, how long was the voyage out to to the what was it called? The system where you guys were finding the ancestors ship. Do you remember offhand? Or, like I was gonna grab the. I can do that. Give me a second. I can grab the Rogue Trader core book. Hold on.
It was some weeks, but not not like our current journey.
No, not like our current journey. That's fair.
Sorry, this will also let me read out about Footfall.
Yeah, it's about 3 or 4 weeks, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and then what little does Ignatius know that it's going to be about a year before they return due to an unfortunate incident in the warp. The system you were going to was, and I think it was quite secretive, because you were trying to beat that rival, someone from House Fell out there. So you may not have shared with everyone that you were heading to the Mogoros system.
Okay.
So you would know that, and they have been gone a while, but it's been about 2 months since they've left, and there has been increasing interest in what might happen when he comes back, and what opportunities might await them. How do you think that Ignatius has... Oh, let me quickly read about Footfall as well, because I like that little entry in here. It's not that, not that. Okay. Footfall, here we go, guys. The settlement that was Dwayne's Footfall, and now simply Footfall, is a tethered network of hundreds of stone structures floating in Furibundus's voids. It is a mass of buttressed temples and plasma-pitted fanes whose towers jut out at all angles into the void. Most are linked by enclosed stonework tunnels and arched bridges, in addition to huge steel chains. At the very center is tethered a huge macro statue of the God Emperor, larger than many warships. Many of Footfall's buildings would not look out of place upon a planetary surface, while other spiral mazes and winding tunnels of unsupported stone would fall apart under the tug of gravity. Sections of Footfall have no gravity, and many have fluctuating levels of generated gravity. The few structures that have their own stable grav generators are highly desired prizes and are fought over by the powerful factions, changing hands over the corpses and regrets of their prior occupants with alarming regularity. Over the centuries since its establishment, Footfall has become a lair of villainy and intrigue, the descendants of its original population of stoneworkers and rogue trader vassals, now far outnumbered by less reputable newcomers. Here, religious fanatics rub shoulders with assassins, spies, fugitives from imperial justice, narco-tribesmen, rowdy crew on furlough, and a wide range of disreputable merchants. Beneath this tumult of lawlessness can be found an even more shadowy world: heretics, cultists, unrestrained criminals, unsanctioned psychers, and worse. Here, 1,000 forms of deadly intrigue can be found, and anything from a starship to a human soul can be bartered in Footfall for a price. It is for precisely these reasons that many great powers and factions from the Calixis sector maintain secretive agents in Footfall: the Administratum, Battlefleet Calixis, the great houses of the Imperial nobility and disciples of the Dark Gods, the Ministorum, and perhaps even the Holy Ordos of the Inquisition as well. For the rogue traders and their agents, Footfall has many uses beyond those of a simple port. These individuals come to learn about competing interests, find an array of illegal services unavailable on Imperial worlds, send forth trusted crew to carouse, gather new recruits to replace those lost in the void, and participate in deadly intrigues to gain an edge in the exploration of the Coronis sector. It is also a place where the vessel can shelter to refit and repair damage in relative safety, provided a rogue trader can abide the 1,000 assorted scum who might flock about, or the dubious strangers, who will swarm their injured vessel and toil upon its hull for a few thrones apiece, or the heretics, whose price is far higher, but whose no questions asked expertise makes them worth the demon's bargain to hire. So knowing that is where you have come, Ignatius, what do you think his approach has been in the months since arriving? He would have a great deal of independence, given that you don't really have a footing here.
Right.
So imagine he's got an enormous amount of influence. One of the cool things in the game, we're not going to get into it, that is that you can actually use your influence to try and succeed where skills would fail. And your influence is something like 7.
Okay.
So what do you think you would have done? Just secured a single location and start trying to make contacts, or would you have tried to set up deals? What are you thinking?
I see him more as a contacts building type guy, you know. So, you know, find a place to call home, find a few, you know, bars or places of interest, trading houses, places where he could go and use his influence to make friends, hopefully more than enemies.
Okay.
And use those contacts to sort of get a foothold. You know, maybe secure a great deal or secure a position with someone of power through that sort of, you know, working the network, basically.
You know, I said that we're not going to use influence, but, you know, it's just such a neat mechanic. Let's just take a quick look here. Here's what influence tests can be used to do. Influence can be used to requisition items and war gear, but more interestingly, it can be used to exploit authority. You can make an influence test you tell me what you want to do. I figure out what individual or organization you want to carry out a task and exactly what you want them to do. I use that to set a DN for the influence test. You must share at least one keyword. You can see there's a keyword at the top of your character sheet. I think it's on the first page.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's important because it will adjust the number of bonus dice you have. You need to have at least one shared keyword in order to use influence over them, but for each additional keyword, you gain a bonus dice. After we've established the DN and the bonus dice, you roll, and then we interpret the number of complications and shifts as normal. You can also, after you've made an influence test, you may spend wealth to add icons to the result. You currently only have 2 wealth, but each point of wealth gives you extra icons you can spend.
Oh yeah, okay, I see my wealth, yeah.
Yeah. Now, let's also quickly look at the assistance mechanic, because I think your trusty psychic may want to assist with that. So let's just see how that works, because I cannot recall offhand.
Oh yeah, especially because if it's like trying to influence people and, you know, get a foothold like that, reading their minds sure helps to know what they're after.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's see here. Let's resolve other rules. Let me take a look in the back here. I will say, you know, what prompted me to actually look up the rules is the outstanding GM screen they've got for this. It prompted what you could do with it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. There's some really cool shit you can do with, and I like the keyword rules, because even the adversaries. So you guys are called agents in the same way that Rogue Trader calls their player characters explorers. You guys are agents in this. The adversaries you face are called threats. So whether that is terrible monsters of the warp or scheming adversaries or cultists of chaos or whatever, that's the name for that. So let's see here. Assist. Cannot find that. The reason we're looking at that for those listening home is there is an assist dice on the character sheet for this. Let's see here. Help. Here we go. You can use a skill or attribute to help someone else. So, you know what? I wonder if they changed nomenclature between the publishers. You can use a skill or attribute to help someone. If you're doing so, grab a number of dice equal to the attribute or skill rating that you're using to help. Your ally can use those dice as bonus dice on their test. So then I'll allow that on the influence test if you tell us how you wish to go about doing that. And I guess first off, who do you think you're going to draw on? Let's look at your keywords first here. So you have Imperium. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong character here.
It's Imperium, Rogue Trader, and Aquare.
Okay, so if you are, like, for instance, trying to look into other what do you call it?
Rogue Traders?
Yeah, then you would share Imperium, and you'd share Rogue Trader with him, which means 1 bonus dice on your influence roll. But,
yeah, I mean, I think that makes the most sense, right? Because those would be the people, they're my people, so to speak, right? Like, that's a good place to start.
Okay.
And it is a little bit of the Wild West area for the Rogue Traders, so, you know, maybe a good place to start.
Okay.
More than, like, I don't know.
Like brute forcing your way in?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, Deserta, how do you think you might want to assist on this? Assuming you do.
I think I'll be holding my fire. Observing, waiting for the target.
Okay. So then, Ignatius, why don't you give us a influence roll with 1 bonus dice? You should be able to adjust the bonus dice on the character sheet.
Okay, so...
I think.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so bonus dice 1. Roll. I think this is correct.
So the difficulty, what is it you're trying to achieve here? We didn't actually determine that. My thought is it's a DN3, so new location, a little hard to pick out. But what were you trying to go? Like just a stable place with gravity near where other folks are trading, kind of thing?
Yeah, basically. Something that has potential, not necessarily has high value now, but has the potential for high value kind of thing.
Yeah. So then let's talk about the results here. So the difficulty was a 3. What we see on here, for those listening at home who might not have played this before, the way that... So I'm going to try not to complain about it. The way that the game uses basically what a success is something called an icon. So we're going to talk about you got an icon or you got an exalted icon. An icon counts as 1 and can be used nothing more than to try and get successes. An exalted icon counts as 2 successes, but can be used for other things to shift over. So if you hear us talking about shifting or whatnot, that's what that means. Is imagine as if we rolled every exalted icon is a 6, and you can choose to count that towards 2 successes, or you can spend it as a shift to do something else to get a better success or to do extra damage or whatever. So, guys, so Jeff, what are you thinking here? You got, with your result, you had a DN3. What are you thinking of doing here?
Okay, so if I understand, I can use one of these 6s to, have the result be better than I expected?
Yes.
As in, right, so, maybe somebody was in a bad spot and had to unload something that they even didn't want to, but it's they had to make the deal.
Yeah. So that would increase the speed with which you acquired it. And is there some other collateral benefit you think you might want to get from that other shift, or you could put that other shift into glory?
Well, let's put it into glory because we're just starting out, and let's get some glory in the pool in case we need it later.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me.
So you both have control over glory. If you want to add a 1 to that... what do you call it? Maybe just whoever is adding the glory will let them do that. Rather, it's one less thing we need to talk about. All right, so that was a pretty great success, and you did not
I don't think I can affect that thing. It's the purple flying.
Yeah, if you hold on, let me make sure this is... No, of course, because I cut and pasted, it took away your permissions. You should have access to it now.
Okay.
There you go. So if you click on it, actually, Jeff, the way it's set up is as one of those like dots that are on that. So if you click on the circle as opposed to the little cog thing, hover over it, put a 1.
Oh, there. Yeah. Oh, it's under our stupid pictures.
There may be some kind of automated feature that we can set up. There wasn't one I could see, and I couldn't find an add-on for it, so I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a macro that some other more knowledgeable Roll20 user can set up, but I can't do it.
I am doing it. I just have to change the camera setting.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, if it's easier, I can just put it down here too.
Oh yeah, it's totally easier.
Yeah.
It's just because the cameras, our cameras for me, are over top of it.
Yeah, no problem. Here you go. I'll do this for you then.
Yeah.
Oops, wrong one. There you go. All right.
Beautiful. Okay.
All right. So then you have yourself set up, and much quicker than you expected. So you're beginning to make some inroads into the. Also it's 8:30, so you each get a point of wrath. For those listening at home, the rules is written with points of wrath is that you get them when you do something cool or whatnot, but just past experience with Pathfinder 2's hero points and Savage Worlds bennies, I just rather would award them on the every half hour than have to remember to award them for specific actions or things like that. So
admit it, we're not going to do anything cool, but you still want to have some points.
That's hardly the case. This game strikes me as one of those ones where you need to have the narrative meta currency. It's a helpful thing to have, so better to do that. So let's talk about one of your. Let me grab. Yes, this. So tell me what you think your average day-to-day activities are like in Footfall, guys. What do you think you spend your time doing? I guess first off, do you spend time apart, or is Disorder always by Ignatius' side?
Oh, well, I think for now I'll just hover around all the time.
Okay.
Near enough by that if something happens that we're, not separated.
To them. Yep.
There's still enough danger around here that I think we got to be cautious.
Mm-hmm. So, I think it is when you are leaving. Let me check one quick thing here. You guys are leaving a meeting with, I don't know, some, maybe there's some kind of resource you're trying to stockpile, that knowing that you will need it when the Mortis Probati returns. So you've made an arrangement for storage. Now it's a matter of tracking down the resource and hoping you have enough money to be able to secure it. This has required you to attend one of the more, busy one of the rocks where there's just a large bazaar. And I think it's got a unusual feature in it in that the grav sensors or the grav units are set up in such a way that imagine like maybe like a football field or 2 football field sized rock. But on the entire interior, there is places where you can stand. So every single square area, you can look up and you can see the other side of the market.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. You are making your way through here and getting ready to leave when you are passing one of the. It's a mixture of like permanent, semi-permanent, and absolutely transitory structures where people are propping up and things, so it is always a difficulty to try and navigate your way around. Normally, when you are trying to check for an ambush or any kind of unexpected trouble, what we would do is just simply compare to your passive awareness, but neither of you have a very good passive awareness. So I think perhaps instead, why don't you each give us an awareness check, please? And maybe what I'll do is I'm going to roll something to see if I can get some points here, because I do love my ruin.
Do you know, is it a skill? Oh, yeah,
It's a skill.
Yeah.
Okay. Ugh. We are maybe not the best.
Okay, well, 3 is pretty good, though.
Yeah.
All right, so then you have
Job.
the decision of whether you're spending any wrath to reroll. Your choice. And the way to judge that is, remember, like a 4 or higher is a icon. A 6 is an exalted icon, so it'll be 2. So 50% chance of getting a success on a reroll. So, for instance, like you've got 3 dice. You see there's 3 dice that have come up as a 3, a 2, and a 1. Or sorry, 3, a 2, and 3.
Yeah.
That means those were not successes. So that's what will
Right.
be rerolled if you spend a wrath to reroll.
Right, I have 3 more rolls. Yeah. Might as well do it. Let's try the mechanics out a bit here.
Okay. Did you have a question, James?
Yeah, just a daft one. I'm going to get the terms wrong. The wrath dice,
Yep.
that still counts like a regular dice for
It does.
getting...
Yeah.
It does. Okay.
Oh, but the complication. Look at that. All right, so you got no extra successes from that. Oh, you did get 1 extra success, Ignatius. You got, man, another exalted success. All right, so the difficulty of this was a 2. Yeah, the wrath dice, otherwise, James, counts as any other dice, can get an exalted.
Okay.
But if you get a 6 on it, it means you automatically add a point to glory, and it counts as an exalted icon that you can shift, just like any other one.
Gotcha.
But if you roll a 1 on the wrath dice, a complication happens. So
We should try that mechanic out sometime.
we really should. All right, so then it means, where is it here? Oh yeah. Jeffrey, would you give us a 2d6 roll, please?
Okay, here we go. Oh. 2d6. Oh.
Okay. No, it's a 6 and a 4. We're rolling it to read a table.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you can roll a d66 in here.
Yeah. It's for, because I've got in the threat assessment Xenos, it gives some very cool battle zone specific hazards. So I feel that the Hive City hazards probably will translate quite well to this. So what you find is faster than you kind of realize. So you only needed 2. Let me tell you before I give you the result here. You only needed 2 successes in order to get this. So that means, Ignatius, you have a decision to make.
Oh, what I want to do with my exalted dice.
Correct. So would you like to? You could shift it into glory. You could.
Yeah, let's shift another one into glory.
You go ahead and make that assessment while I tell you what's happening. So,
because we might need it.
You're moving back and you're feeling good about what has happened, but you can hear the screams very suddenly from up above, and it seems as if there is just a ton of people who are suddenly crushing towards you. And as you guys are being jostled and hit, until I say otherwise, or until you get yourself out of this initial area, you're going to take +2 difficulty number for all ranged attacks.
Oh.
But that actually might be not that bad, because what you can find is I don't know if I actually loaded this.
Fortunately, there'll be no fighting today, so
Not at all.
I'm confident everyone is going to be nice on football.
They're very nice people.
Let's use, you know what? This is You know this guy's face when he shows up. It's Nameless Joe Thug.
Yes.
So, here's the thing with Nameless Joe Thug, number 6 here. He, what you can tell, both of you, is you've been in enough tricky situations. Oh, Jeff, did you turn your camera off, or?
Oh.
Yeah, I can't see Jeff either.
No, I just I looked away, looked back up, and I couldn't see Jeff.
I didn't.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, it's like it's like the setting is different now.
It's Roll20 Friday.
Yeah, Roll20 Friday. Welcome to the new... I'm going to hit reconnect on my side. I got you back. Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Oh,
weird.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, so here's... what happens is... you can see that there are 10 men who are coming towards you from one direction and 5 from another. So I'm just going to put down... let me do this here. It'll be above here, 10 over here, 10 over here. These are going to be a mob. So you guys will see... I was going to put it above, and I'm just so used to having it below, it looks wrong the other way. And they are probably... oh, they're not they haven't taken damage. There we go. 5 coming up from behind, 10 in front of you. They do not... the variety of, like, you know, bolt pistols and, or, you know, otherwise projectile weapons, knives and whatnot. And the reaction of the crowd seems to be in relation to these things. You can't remember what gang these guys are from, because there's just so many and they splinter apart and come back together or whatnot. But you know it's not one that you want to be seeing, and they seem to have their eyes trained and fixed on you guys. So, assume that they're about 10 meters away from you right now. And they are moving in fast, and there does not appear to be an obvious route of escape, jostled by people one way or the other. You would be throwing yourself into their mercy at one side or at the other. So, the way initiative works is you guys get to go first. So one of you gets to go first with an action, and then you could spend glory to keep the initiative, or you can pass it off to me and I get to go with somebody. So, what are you thinking?
Shall I move first as your bodyguard? And I'll go forwards into the 10.
Sure, yeah.
Let's see what that does.
Okay.
It may be a mistake, but we're going to find out.
So I'm assuming you've got your...
and I use my force staff.
Yeah, you got your force staff, and you're walking along.
In my hand.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so you push forward, and that'll be your move. You still have a swift action, or whatever it's called. Swift? Is that what it's called? Quick action? To the GM screen. The GM screen is fantastic, not the least of which because, guys, guess what's on it?
Skill list.
A full skill list! All right, so, does not have the combat actions. Oh, but you know what it does have? A page reference for combat actions on page 178 of the thing. So there we go. Cubicle 7, in addition to making really great games, has, I think, the very best GM screens of any publisher currently. They're so fucking good, always. A simple action, not a swift action. So simple action, an action, and you can have a reflex. So what are you thinking, Disorder?
I'm going to use... I'll do an action to smack with the...
Okay. So your simple action technically would be to, like, psychically energize your staff.
Okay.
Right? Because it's a ready and a weapon is that. So you step forward, and this is treated like mobs in FFG Star Wars or 2D20. So you treat the whole mob as one entity. Difficulty number here is, to hit them, is their defense is a 1.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You can spend glory if you choose to add to your dice pool. Or you can just roll, see what happens, and then judge from there.
Yeah, let's just roll and see.
Okay, sounds good to me. That is not great at all.
Wow, I've only got 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was not help. Oh, yeah, no, that was the force save. Okay, so I will use a...
Wrath?
Is it Wrath to reroll? Yep. Right.
And it'll change your mind as to whether you want to keep anything from your from the glory pool.
Okay, shall I steal one then, Ignatius?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. Let me reroll. Oh, actually, I didn't get to use it.
But then click on your glory at the top. There's a button for glory.
Oh, yeah. So let me.
It makes me think that there is some way of having like an auto tracking for it. There you go. All right. So you have currently 3 icons, which means there are 2 in excess, but that doesn't do anything because it's the exalted ones is what you need. In order to increase your damage. Let's see here. All right. So that's a hit. Go ahead and roll damage. That is 8.
Oh.
Oof. No extra damage on your thing. Okay. But 8. Let me see here. Let's double check and see if an extra successes hit extra targets with mobs.
So how do I change our glory pool?
Okay, so you click on the token and then click on the little color circle. It's the one right below and then you go over the yellow, hover over yellow and type the number you want. So you just hover over it and hit 1.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
The number of icons rolled on an attack test determines how many individuals in the mob are hit. Every icon rolled over the mob's defense means an additional individual in the mob is hit. So that is 3. You got 3 total as you race in there. That's 3 that are hit. And with 8 points of damage per hit. Why don't you tell us what it looks like as you go in and remove, shall we say, 3 of them from the equation.
Yeah, so there's a crackling coming off my stave as it's like in through one, smack back to the next, smack back to another. So 3 of them, 1 straight down, and then the 2 to either side of them get smacked into the wall.
Okay, fantastic. Ignatius, so you can choose to spend that last glory to try and take initiative or maintain initiative, or you can let me go with somebody.
No, let's blow it. Let's go all the way. Let's go all in.
So Ignatius, what do you want to do?
Because what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna pull out my power sword and just say, you picked the wrong day to mess with us, boys, and I'm gonna charge in as well.
To the same group that Desura did?
Yeah, try and really intimidate, sort of break their ranks quickly. But,
absolutely. So then go ahead and give us a attack with your power sword.
Okay, one power sword. Nice.
All right, so that was... So you only need 1 to hit. So you have a decision to make with that Exalt when you can shift it for extra damage. But that probably won't benefit you that much with these things because your power sword is going to annihilate these guys.
Right. Yeah.
So then we can put it into glory
let's put
instead.
it back into the glory. Yeah.
Nice.
I like
okay.
that. Yeah.
So the alternative is you could hit more of them because it does count as two successes.
Oh, right. If I leave it at 4, it actually hits 4 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's try and cut them down a bunch.
Okay, so let's see what damage you roll here.
Okay, so roll damage on the power sword. Oh, nice.
So 11, and you reduce their resilience by 3. So, yeah. Well, why don't you tell us what it looks like as you carve down 4 more of these guys?
Yeah, I think it's just like, following the sort of path that Dasara has sort of cut through them. I'm sort of like cutting down the ones who stepped aside with the power sword. So sort of like, before they can even regain their balance and get into the fight, just sort of, slicing them through so that we've left sort of a trail through their ranks.
So what I'm going to do for this group is there is a trait called conviction, which is sort of like your nerve. We're going to make a conviction check against you. The most you've taken down have been 4, so I'm going to set the difficulty at 4 for this and see if they will flee or not. They do get some bonus dice for sheer numbers here, but they are cowards at their core. So we have there we go. I need a 4. I got a complication on my wrath dice, which means that I think they scream and they throw their knees, like throw themselves to the ground and are screaming out, Aquare! Aquare! Mercy! Mercy on us! So that is the end of your turn, so it's my turn to act. These guys have unfortunately turned yellow, so they are not fighting any longer and have, in fact, surrendered to you. The others, seeing how much damage, I think, let's roll. Let's see here. There is 2 to start, and then I got 4 extras. Let's see if you're worth going down. That is 1. I think the others look over at you. They sort of look at one another and then turn and join the rest of the fleeing crowd. So, as these lay defeated at your feet, how do you guys wish to deal with the remaining 3 gang members who were sent as assassins?
Sort of, I'll look down at them and say, what's the meaning of this attack here?
So are you threatening, or are you...
trying to intimidate them, basically. They've asked for mercy, so...
I think you can use...
Intimidation?
Yeah, you definitely use intimidation for that, and why don't you get...
It's not my best skill, but
the difficulty will be
the
a
situation
2.
I'm in.
Yeah, it's a 2 that you're rolling against, because that's the conviction.
Here we go. Ooh.
Oh, complication. So here's what happens. Is you tell them, tell us who sent you, and then one by one, there's a slight popping sound, and you can see their eyes suddenly fill with red. And one by one, they drop down dead.
Wow.
Dark
man.
future.
I'm a little bit in shock. Like,
Sura, you can still hear the sound of the panicked individuals screaming. What are you doing while Ignatius is in shock? Also, you each get a point of wrath.
I think I should only have the 3 at the moment. Anyway.
Okay.
Yep. Calm yourselves, citizens. It is all handled.
Okay, you can try giving a, let's see here. I think it's a panic. It's probably going to be a 3 difficulty, and that would be a persuasion check. Why don't you give us a persuasion check against 3?
Oh, that should be magnificent.
Yeah, there's not a lot of, with your, crackling force staff next to you, they're they sort of, you can picture, they clear out, and you can easily hear Ignatius Desura say, "Calm yourself, citizens," as the last of them kind of like turns and runs off.
Why is someone trying to kill us? Or probably me specifically, but
Saquari already has enemies. Or somebody else desired that estate.
I didn't think we had made that many enemies here.
You could give us a cunning. Is that it? Let's see here. Yeah, why don't you give us a cunning check, Ignatius? That's not quite what the skill is used for, but...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I think what you can read into this is a sign of your success. In a place like this, if they're not trying to kill you, then it probably means you're not actually achieving what you want.
Right. Okay. Right. Fair enough. So we've done too well too quickly, possibly. So
that sounds like the Aquari spirit.
I think that we'll have to look into who is trying to kill us, though.
So, with that,
I have a rummage.
Oh, go ahead. You have a rummage?
I was just thinking we'd have a quick rummage through
the
through
corpses
the bodies for any
bodies.
sort of any ID.
Yeah. So I think what you look through, I mean, these are
Hallmarks.
Yeah, these are thugs for hire. You know, like they are cutthroats that anyone could throw some money in. I think you could make an influence check to try and call in favors to ask who these guys might be, who might work for them, or you could try using. Let me check. Cunning has a lot of versatile uses in the game. Let's see here.
Right, like
Cunning is your ability to think and act like those who operate outside of the law. Cunning is to hear the word on the street, find dealers of illicit goods or information, or make a devious plan. Ignatius, one of your talents, incidentally, is something that always grants you a bonus dice on cunning checks and on resisting the effects of chemicals. I will leave you to determine how those two are related. So, what are you thinking, Ignatius? Like, where Captain Aquari is the rogue trader, you know, the kind of not glorious, but that's what he would certainly call himself, I think. More distinguished, you know, highfalutin, important one. You're in the fucking dirt. You're the one who is helping to figure out what is really going on, you know, in the trenches, as it were, which is why you were such an excellent addition to the Aquari retinue out here.
right.
What do you think? So you could, for instance, make a cunning check again to try and track down this information, go out, beat feet, and perhaps even Desura could assist you with that.
Yeah, well, why don't we, you know, hit the sort of places where, you know, thugs and assassins would be recruited from and, you know, call them out. Like, you know, what are you doing putting a ticket out on me? Right?
So I'm going to set the difficulty at 4, because basically what you're trying to do is oppose someone's cunning. Someone has called in favors on you, so I'd figure out what their dice pool would be, and half of that is what you're rolling against.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? And then, Desura, do you have any way you wish to try and assist with this sort of narrative, you know, cinematic kind of cutscene task or montage task?
Yeah, I guess I'll be out there being
Basically, what you're going to pick is a
throwing
skill.
my weight about, as it were.
Yeah, a skill or an ability that would
Yes.
you get to
So
roll
I'm thinking
based on bonus dice.
intimidation. I'm thinking intimidation, that I'll be either hanging over Ignatius's shoulder looking crackling somewhat.
Yeah. Do you have any points in intimidation?
I don't, but I've got a lot of willpower.
Yeah, so then you're going to roll your willpower instead, because it's either the skill or the ability that you're rolling. But the way you've described it absolutely fits with your objective for the session. So you will also get a wrath for doing this.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so go ahead and give us why don't you give us just a raw willpower check? Was it intelligence or willpower?
It's willpower. So
willpower.
I think I've got my skill right. So it's if I look at the skill, it's 0 and then willpower.
Oh yeah,
and
so you
it
can roll
says a
that
total
then.
of 6. So
Yeah.
I just roll. So just not the assist.
Oh, no, roll. Is there an assist button that's next to the stat?
Oh, there's an assist button next to the skill.
Right, but then if you roll that, it's just going to roll the ranks in intimidation, which is donut, right?
Oh, okay.
Right, because you use either the ability or the skill.
Well, then I should just roll the actual skill because it's all the.
But I'm asking, is there a button for assist with the stat?
With the stat, no. There's just roll.
Just roll.
Oh, so then you can just roll that, because that's what you'll be rolling for your assist.
Roll willpower.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, I'll just use that wrath dice that I got straight away.
Well, no, but the thing is that one, that's a complication.
Oh, yeah, I managed to... Oh, great.
Yeah, that star is the Eye of Chaos, not the... Now, here's the thing, is... I'm going to double check, but I think even when you get a complication, you can still spend wrath to re-roll. So if you wanted to spend wrath and see if you can get some more successes out of that.
So I'll do that. So it'll be a sort of success with complication.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So at least you got the success. So you got 2 added to it, Ignatius, and there is going to be a complication from this as well.
Interesting.
So why don't you make your decision? There's currently nothing in the glory pool, so why don't you go ahead and give us your...
Oh, I'm just straight up rolling cunning.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Well, there should be... okay.
Oh.
Okay. One was spent on your roll, and then one was spent for him to interrupt the initiative order. All right. So
now I have a lot of low numbers there. I could spend a wrath to re-roll.
You definitely could.
And it keeps the successes, but there's the risk of the super bad. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Okay.
You're already getting a complication. I mean, there's no such thing as more complication. I mean, there is, but
I mean, there probably is. Double complication.
Okay, holy shit.
Yeah.
So
holy shit.
Let's look at your total number. I said the difficulty was a 4.
Yeah.
You currently have between you guys how many icons and how many exalted icons?
Holy. We have
3
11.
11 and 3. Yeah.
Well, no. That's how many successes if everything goes towards successes. The reason I asked about icons and exalted icons, remember, the exalted icons are the only ones you can shift to get different results.
Right.
So you want to look at your icons first, which by my count is a total of 5 between you guys. Which means...
Yeah, okay.
Right? Because you got 3 icons from your reroll, and you got 2 from Deserta's reroll. That gives you enough to get your success as it is, which means you've got 3 exalted icons to make decisions on.
Right. Okay, well, right away, let's put 1 into the glory pool, because it's nice to always have 1 in there.
Okay.
Then,
you know what, guys? You got... Oh, no, you didn't get an exalted icon yet.
What?
No, I was looking back over your...
Oh.
Yeah, I have. We haven't seen an exalted icon on the wrath dice yet.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because I want to keep that you get an automatic glory with that, so... And it does. I just scrolled back in it. There is an exalted icon that will show up if you roll a 6 on the wrath dice.
Oh, okay, like when we were practice rolling.
Yeah. So, then 2 more shifts. And just to give you some ideas here too, remember shifts can, here we go.
It can.
Gain additional information to improve the quality of your success, to improve the speed of it, or to just dump it into glory.
Well, let's improve the quality of the success. Well, let's improve the quality and the speed. Why not? You can do both.
Yeah. So it is only a couple of places that before you manage to track down. There is a guy at kind of a, you know, a CD, kind of whatever the 40K equivalent of a hookah bar is.
Yeah.
And in there, what you find, so you're spending 1 to increase the speed, 1 to increase quality. Let me or propose something to you. Instead of increasing the speed, because it's a montage, it's not going to really make that much of a difference.
Oh, that's fair.
What if you make a contact?
Oh, yeah, okay, right. So you can make like a new contact.
Yeah, you could. So this guy, he calls himself Rook. And it's almost like a... I really don't know whether chess is still played in the world of 40K, or that's fallen by the wayside. But you know, Rook would either mean a playful word, you know, for an information broker, you know, referring to himself as the most disposable of pawns in the. Oh, no, that's a pawn. It's not a rook.
Yeah, that's a pawn. Yeah.
That's not to make a Crash reference. That's completely wrong. Hey, but he calls himself Rook. So he is a one of the information brokers that's in here too. This guy, he probably almost never leaves here too. He's got like cybernetics in his head that are connected up to the port behind him. He has, you know, the booth set aside in a kind of an area where the way the seat is supporting his ample weight suggests that he very rarely, you know, leaves this area. He's attended by people who seem to know precisely what his desires and needs are. And you have made a very good impression on him, Captain Aquare.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good.
And what he can tell you is that for one, it's as you suspected. These are just thugs for hire, murderers that anyone looking for, you know, a job to be done, they would be one of the ones to go to. You also know that they are not one of the more expensive ones. If you want someone dead, there are, while hiring an Imperial assassin might be a very expensive thing, it's something that can be done in the Coronis Expanse. So if someone truly wanted you dead, they would send someone on that like that level. And there's all sorts of mid-level professionals in between. These guys are the very bottom of the scale.
Right.
So it suggests that either someone does not have significant influence over you, you know, to be able to call in the resources necessary to get these people to kill you, or they didn't care enough whether they succeeded or not to pay a lot of money or influence to get it done, or they were testing you.
Yeah, that easily could be any of those. Well,
as the extra information too, with your shift, they have a name for you. Another fixer. Someone who is a go-between. And Rook has happened to come across the name of this guy. His name is Vendragoth.
Vendragoth.
And if you wish to get rid of one level of your wealth, then maybe you could he can give you some other information about this. Or alternatively, if you don't want to blow the wealth, you could try and make an influence check on this guy. So I think what this would be, you only share He's certainly not a rogue trader, but he is part of the Imperium. He's human, so he's part of the Imperium. I don't think there are any other keywords that you share, so this would be a difficulty. I think it'll be a difficulty 4 if you just try and call in favors of like, do you know who our fucking house is? Or you can just spend the wealth. What do you think? You got a bit of wrath that you're sitting on anyway.
Right.
So if you needed to re-roll your influence roll, then you could always do that.
Yeah, let's just try and influence him. I'm gonna keep my wealth because I think I want to try and really grow it, not spend it yet.
Squander it.
He's still on sort of a growth.
And you can also spend wealth after a roll to buy icons. So if you find yourself falling short, you could also do that.
Right. So roll influence.
Yep. Influence with no bonus dice.
Yeah. Get rid of that bonus.
And there you go.
Nice.
So what is it you say when he's like suggesting that perhaps, if some thrones could change hands, I might be able to... I wouldn't insult you by offering this valuable information about Vendragoth for free.
Well, let me tell you, exchanging of cash for this is petty and below us. The power that the Aquare name is moving to take here in Footfall is worth much more to you long term than the measly crowns you could have today.
And so he kind of leans back. You see there's flashing in the lights in his cybernetics. You're an interesting man, Ignatius Aquare. I do hope you stay in Footfall for a while. And before I tell you what the information is, let me point out, you also achieved your objective.
Oh,
so yes. You're going to get a point of wrath as well. Did you add your wrath, Desorda?
I used it straight away.
Oh, did you? Nice. All right, so you get your wrath. I'm going to tick this up. We'll take our mid-session break at 9:30 my time, just to keep us going here. But let me adjust your wrath up here. There we go. What he tells you is that Vendragoth is he is kind of a fixer for hire. He's not so much a fixer where you go to try and get information or get something done. He's an agent that you might acquire or might hire to act on a permanent basis. They tend to keep their employers, because of it obviously is to their advantage for the people they're dealing with to not know who they're working for. He can't tell you who he's acting for, but he can tell you that's precisely what he's doing. So if he's going around, he is a gun for hire locally who someone else has hired. So I think there are some implications you can draw from that as well. Who do you think might rely on a local gun for hire?
Well, like, you mean like a local person? Or like a specific person?
What I more mean is, if you had influence here locally already, why on earth would you need to hire an expert like him?
Right. Okay, I see. Right. So someone else trying to make a name for themselves.
Does seem like that's probably the case.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions you wish to ask of Rook?
Is there any precautions we should take when approaching this Vendragoth?
I will tell you that if you were to come to me and suggest an effective local agent to act on your behalf, doing what you have deemed to do on behalf of your house, Vendragoth would be one of the first I would recommend.
Okay.
Professional and effective, and quite happy to go to any lengths, as you see, to achieve this, the goals of his patron.
Of course, yes.
Knowing that it is Vendragoth who is behind this, had he intended on a lethal message being sent, he certainly would have access to those who could send that information, who could achieve those goals and send the message to your house.
Right, of course. Either a test or just trying to get my attention, clearly.
Indeed. And then?
Well, then I'm glad he did not take the path that led to success.
Might I ask, Ignatius, about something unrelated?
Of course.
Your fellow house member, Captain, the Lord Captain Aquare.
Yes.
Is he a particularly devoted man? Well, devoted
to the house, of course, but...
I mean more... Does he have a fervent place, a fervent belief in the power of the God Emperor? Something beyond the typical recognition of his glory.
Not to my knowledge of some... Well, why would you ask such a question?
Well, I'd be curious as to know why a group of missionaries are so intent on having a meeting with you. But
Very strange.
I wish you luck with your meeting with them. You have not heard, you don't know what he's talking about. He's like,
what?
Yeah.
Huh. I probably give Desara like a side glance of like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, Desura, you're...
Well, I won't probe him because presumably he'd detect, so I'm on good terms. So.
Okay. Anything else you guys wish to do?
Not here with Rook. He was very helpful. It won't be like of some great wealth, but maybe I'll leave some kind of a token that I have that's like an appreciative thing. Like, let's see, what kind of a, like the equivalent of, I don't know if it would be like a fancy cigar, but the equivalent of idea of that, of like, something that's of mild value that, would be a nice gift that maybe it is a nice cigar or something.
I think,
like that,
what, knowing what he values, future information and future dealings with him probably are of more value. Like the idea that you have an existing relationship.
Right.
Having someone who is an agent for, like, a Lord Captain of a ship, they're an influential and powerful thing, no doubt. Like, tens of thousands of people on their vessel, on at least one thing, perhaps, a fleet out, trading across the system. That's a very, very powerful individual. Someone who is an agent for a dynastic house in a specific location, especially one as rife with intrigue and whatnot as what Footfall is, that's also a really valuable person to have as a friend.
Right.
So maybe some trinket of House Aquari.
Yeah.
A pin or something that...
Right, like something to denote that, he is a friend.
You put a
of
mug
House
down
Aquari.
and then you slowly turn it and it has the name.
It's like got our house logo on it. Pretty nice.
No, that is so. Perhaps it's like a throne, like some kind of insignia with the Aquare house insignia on it.
Yeah. Right. Something to donate friend, like denote that we're friends now, basically.
So I think what he does when he sees it, he recognizes the gesture, of course, and he makes a concerted effort, which is a little difficult given his bulk, but he turns and shifts over and makes a point of placing it in his pocket.
Nice.
So you guys leave here and make the necessary transitions to head back, and I think we're just at our mid-session break. Why don't we take our mid-session break now, and then we'll come back and see who these missionaries are that we're waiting to see you. Okay, so for those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, this is quite the meta-currency game.
Yeah, there's a lot, but I actually kind of like it. I like the opportunity to affect your roles a little more.
All right. So, as you guys return to, I guess first off, what are you picturing the place that you've managed to seize as your Aquare headquarters looks like?
What the place look like?
Imagine big dark marble, solid, bit dusty. Because it's in a bit of a rundown neighborhood, right? Because we were in the up and coming, but not. It's got faded glory. Maybe those glories coming back again, and then big armor glass windows looking out into the void. Maybe we can see the great statue of the God Emperor in the distance.
Love it. Okay. So it is into that location, and you would have some hirelings and whatnot that you would have along with you. One thing I will say is that's really nice about this system as well is because the mechanics for mobs and whatnot like that are so easy to handle. You guys can have retinues with you without overcomplicating the game or whatnot in a very streamlined kind of way. So you can assume that because like most things on average, like an average person's skill and whatnot is a 2. So like if I want to figure out what an assisting, a mob of say 5 guys assisting you is who have a skill level of 2, it's probably going to be 6 dice they roll because it's 2 for the initial plus 1 for each extra one, or I might just say the most they can contribute is 2 because they're not that helpful.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah. So nice. Mechanically, it's very easy to scale up, scale down things. So, as you guys come in, what you find waiting for you with your, who are being humored by your meager staff that are here, there is apparently a retinue of some local members of the Church of the God Emperor. What they tell you is apparently they are part of a contingent that the Lord Captain Aquare rescued during the passage through the Maw.
They were rescued by the Lord Captain.
Correct. Apparently at the mercy of pirates. They were being used as a decoy. And when these pirates, when the Lord Captain and the Mortis Probati went to intercept, to assist, the pirates foolishly tried to attack the Mortis Probati. And, I mean, I'd go on, but that would be robbing the Lord Captain of his opportunity to sing his own glories. But they seem to be quite insistent on meeting with you. They know that you are the agent for House Aquare in Footfall.
Yeah.
And there's something that we should discuss with you, but we'll only discuss with a designated representative of House Aquare.
Okay. I don't think I'm the kind of man they're looking for, but I will agree to meet with them, as Lord Captain has obviously made quite an impression on them.
And if you choose to say, look in and use your Auspex sensor in your cybernetics, you could quite easily see that there are 6 individuals, 6 living beings waiting in your whatever passes as your conference room, I guess. The 40K equivalent of it. I'm sure there's a more, gothic definition for it. But what do you wish to do?
I shan't keep them waiting too long, but I would go to the restroom or whatever and freshen up a little bit, fix my hair, wash my hands and face, kind of
the stink of those whatever, Xenos herbs that were being burned in your meeting with Rook.
Right, exactly. Well, I definitely feel, not that I am, on the street, but a little bit a man of the street, and so feel a little gross.
Okay, I think I forgot to give you guys your wrath points at 9:30 too. So what you could do, in theory, is if you have a skill that you think might apply, you might try to remember what you've heard about these folks.
Oh, that's a good idea.
A scholar might assist with that. I don't think there's not like a religion-based one, but scholar is probably the one. I think that Desura actually is training.
I've got some of that. Yep. So I will.
I mean, it might be that I would actually ask you. Maybe I should assist on this one, and you should make the roll.
Sure.
For what you know.
Scholar is in a intelligence roll. Why don't you roll your intelligence then, Ignatius? Add that as a bonus dice for Desura, and the Desura whenever you're ready.
Intelligent.
Woohoo!
Nice. So the difficulty of this is probably. Let's see what Ignatius comes up with.
I rolled a 3 with a.
Oh man, the 5.
Each.
Oh hell yeah. Okay, so guys, so the difficulty of this, I was going to set at a 3 or a 4. I think probably a 3. That means, what would you like to do with your successes, exalted success, or icons and exalted icons?
There's 2 exalted icons. So I guess we'll want to know it quickly because we're about to have a meeting, and one that is extra info. Okay.
Then, so what you know is, because this is just, you've kept your finger on kind of the pulse of things here. Well, as far as like the word of House Aquare, so it may have seemed like these were just, your everyday, what do you call it, like missionaries, going off to try and either set up some kind of mission or something similar to that on the benefit to spread the word of the God Emperor, or perhaps a, more of an inquisitorial tinge to it. But these ones seem to have a specific purpose, and their destination, at least some of the people's destination, are at a bit of an unusual location here. It isn't the same system as Footfall, but it's a little further away. It's a place called, I should say a monastery called Hephaestion's Rest. I'll put that in chat for you. Hephaestion's Rest seems to have some kind of... Actually, you're spending exalted icons, so we're going to give you some extra information for this. Hephaestion's Rest is unusual as far as the monasteries and various sort of secluded places that are devoted to the God Emperor are concerned, because it is almost in kind of a callback to medieval monasteries. There is a product that comes from Hephaestion's Rest, and only from there. You would know this in particular, Desura, because there is a very unusual psychic a resource that they develop called the Emperor's Tarot. And it's kind of like an arcana of tarot of old, but only something that is very specifically infused with it's said, an absolute and perfectly refined aspect, infinitesimally small, mind you, but an aspect of the God Emperor himself. So it is a very highly valued and very unique kind of resource. The other unusual thing about Hephaestion's Rest, they all swear an oath of, or a vow of silence. It said that there's not a single word that is spoken among the monks there, and that they all undertake to create this very, very unique resource or product. It's the chartreuse, if you will, of the 40K universe. What you know is there was apparently among the missionary group, there was a exalted alchemist or something to that effect. Someone with a very specialized knowledge to assist in the creation of this. So if that had been lost and there would have been difficulty producing this, then that would have represented an enormous loss to the empire or the Imperium in general. For Lord Captain Aquare to have rescued this individual is averting a catastrophic loss, not only to the church itself, the Church of the God Emperor, but in particular to the inhabitants of Hephaestion's Rest. So you would know all that information, have that to share. Mm-hmm. Well, what do you guys make of that? So perhaps as you're kind of washing yourself off, Ignatius, you take your jacket off, you're washing off, and Desura is describing all this to you, and you ask one or two pointed questions, and she to represent your participation in this.
Right.
But what do you guys make of this? That's exactly a terrible loss of psychic chartreuse.
Okay, so this is a huge deal. The captain has brought great honor to the House of Quare. This is
and service to the Emperor.
We shall meet with them and see what it is they want from us. Or maybe what gifts they wish to bestow on House of Quare.
You finish washing up, place your regalia, such as it is, back on, and tell us how you guys go into your meeting with these missionaries.
Well, now probably with a big smile on my face that I wasn't expecting to have before.
Never tried to get in trouble before?
Well, not necessarily trouble, but something he didn't want to deal with, you know, like...
Okay.
Right? Like, oh, what do these guys want, right? And now it's more like, oh, yes, what do they want? You know, it's like more excitement now, so...
Mm-hmm. So, casting the doors to the, the conference room open, you find that as you walk in, it's what you expect from the, devotees are wearing robes, are wearing a lot of like mystic stuff or symbols of the God Emperor on them. There's an awful lot of skulls, and then what you also can, and Aquilas, and what you also can see, there is one woman who seems to be leading them all, leans on a staff that is lots of not ornate in the way that like a member of the ecclesiarchy may be like a ranking member. These are not people who are wearing glorious, expensive robes in a, high Catholic mass kind of way. They are definitely people who are members of the faith, but they are the meek. They are the meager.
Okay, yeah.
So she gets up, and as they walk in, they look over and say, "Factotum." The woman speaking here, "Factotum Ignatius."
Was that a normal greeting that I would know?
It's your name. It's your rank.
Oh, it's my rank.
Yeah, you're the factotum for House Aquare here.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I would greet you with your title, ma'am, but I do not know it. I apologize.
You may call me Sister Noradine.
Well, sister, welcome.
You're most gracious. The blessing of the God Emperor upon you. And blessing your house. Upon you. I thank you for taking your time with me.
You're most welcome. Please sit.
Thank you. And she turns, and as she gestures, the rest of her her retinue kind of sits down as well.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys each give us an insight check, please?
Oh, surprisingly good.
Right. Oh no.
Complication. Okay. So then,
very interesting.
why don't you just put 2 points in the glory pool for now? So you guys will have 3 in your glory, and we'll sit on that complication. So you sit down, and I think there's a bit of a, there's a look on her face when you don't respond to her invocation of the God Emperor. You don't. I guess you're really one of those whose faith is not deep. But she overlooks your... To say heresy is definitely a little too much. That's going to be a call to the Inquisition, but she's not pleased that you knew how to properly respond to one. The Lord Captain Aquari was certainly no better, at least by reputation.
Right, of course.
Yeah. So she sits down and she says, I take it that I understand that you have arrived after the Lord Captain had departed. As part of, you remain here as an agent for the Lord Captain Aquare's interests here and his house. Do I have that right?
That's a fair way to put it, yes.
Then I take it you are familiar in that role with the great service that the Lord Captain Aquare offered to not only we few devotees, the devoted, who were at the mercy of vicious raiders, but also delivered one especially blessed by the God Emperor to footfall into our home, or to where we so value. These people, you would know, they wouldn't live there. These aren't like monks from there. The monastic order would be separate, and there would be other sort of religious communities around, but in the same way that like rock bands have groupies, you would have the same kind of missionaries following around people who were seen as holy in this. So they would probably retinue of this, sacred alchemist who would go and join the monastery, but they would be sticking around and doing the stuff that to support the monastery.
Right.
He helped deliver it was Brother Darius whom he delivered, who now has taken up his sacred task at Hephaestium's rest. Word came not long ago from Hephaestium's rest that, given this great service that Lord Captain Aquare had performed, they wished to show their appreciation and that of the God Emperor and his favor upon his dutiful and brave servant, the Lord Captain Aquare.
Indeed.
There is a relic which the monks at Hephaestium's rest have kept in their sacred charge for many, many years. And we would honor House Aquare by having that relic delivered to your charge.
You would like House Aquare to look after the relic?
again, you can see here kind of like what we would honor your house with is with the duty to take charge of the sacred relic.
Yes, of course, to take charge of it.
There's a very brief side-eye moment over to Desura, like, fucking people.
Yeah, like, he's just like I said, he's like more of a street guy.
Oh,
like,
definitely,
This is like the church business, and she wants him to talk like proper church methods, and he's just like, you know.
And this may be obvious too, but this is like, this is how I'm interpreting the complication, is that there's this like,
oh yeah,
this is the fucking guy who's going to help us out with this, like,
right, like this is who we've got.
Yeah.
Totally.
So she says then, I take it that you would accept the honor that comes with assuming the burden of responsibility with this relic.
Of course. I accept.
The thigh bone of Saint Hephaestium is no small thing. I do not wish to insult your understanding of appropriate decorum, factotum Ignatius, but I perhaps should go through the proper regimen for assuming responsibility for such a relic.
That would be wise.
The monastery of Hephaestium's Rest is only serviced by one captain, one recognized and trusted by the order. He will transport you aboard his vessel to the monastery, where there is a ritual which must be performed to deliver this into your house's charge.
Okay. We
Then
shall make ready.
Captain Coronia can be contacted at, and she looks over at one of her, one of her underlings, and they pass over like a data slate with some information on it.
Yeah.
This is how he might be contacted. Make arrangements with him at your earliest convenience, and we will inform the monastery of your pending arrival once you know when you are to depart.
Right, of course. Our imminent departure.
She spares a look over at her minions and then back at you. Then, if there is nothing else, Factotum Ignatius, please, when you speak to the Lord Captain again, please express our general gratitude to him for his enormous service in favor to the God Emperor, and my own personal thanks.
I will do that exactly. Let me just write that down carefully here. You'll like take out a notepad.
Then the blessings of the God Emperor upon you and your house.
And the blessings of the God Emperor upon you and your congregation.
She looks at you like... turns and departs. Desura, there's nothing you wish to do during that transaction, just staying back?
I'll be just lurking as usual by Ignatius's shoulder.
Okay. And then as the last of the congregants or her, retinue leaves, your staff knows best to close the doors to give you an opportunity to talk amongst yourselves.
Right. Oh. So wait, to be clear, Oh, I have to go get the thing. Never mind. They didn't leave it. The captain's going to take us to the place.
Yeah, you need to make
the thing.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thigh bone of Saint Hephaestion.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is one of these tasks, I think, Factotum, where the upside is limited and the downside is huge.
I would agree. The hell did the Lord Captain get us into?
So
I found this on the web.
Oops. Siri is trying to help.
Siri's got some pretty good comedic timing there.
Oh, that was great.
Oh man, I am curious what the Google results would be for that. What the hell did he get us into?
Yeah, totally. Do you think we should visit this Vendragath before we go, or head directly to see this captain? I don't know what sort of rush they're expecting on this possession.
Gotta say that that bone will last, I would think. It's not like it's gonna die. Maybe we should check out Pendergast.
Yes.
Otherwise, we may find that we will be ambushed when we return.
Yeah, fair
We
enough.
don't want to be under attack when we have the relic.
Let me ask you this: do you suspect that this lady, having left the impression that Ignatius left on her, is likely to have a great deal of patience or forgiveness with the time?
Probably not.
So it is a matter of like there are a couple of spinning plates here. So it's which one do you focus on?
Right. It's not that there's necessarily a correct answer, but like she may not like it very much if we aren't there promptly.
What you could do is look into either like what's expected from this relic, or you could look into information about Saint Hephaestion, or you could try and track down this Vendragoth guy.
What if we were to send a message to this Vendragath? Maybe we...
I think it sounds like the sort of thing where we need to come in full force and for him to take us seriously.
You think there may be
Well, if he's coordinating
trouble afoot?
murderous intentions on us, we need to take it seriously.
Fair enough.
So either we do it now or we do it on our return with
But with...
the body part.
yes.
So mechanically speaking, that body part is likely to have some kind of there's actually a really interesting whole set of like rules around the religious oriented things, and in addition to whatever instantial kind of thing that might have with respect to like demons or whatnot, there may even be some broader influential things that this might be worth. There's a great deal of prestige that would come from owning such a thing.
Right. We're certainly not in it for the prestige right now.
No. Although, what, like as an instance, what that might also give you is a bonus dice as an object of such importance to the church for those who it relates to. So the Imperium, anyone with the Imperium tag, it might give you a bonus dice on any.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean by like there's mechanical benefits to it beyond just the what might be you think of as like, oh, it's an object I might use against demons or ward them off or whatnot. There's a interesting wider, because it's such a tightly designed game.
Right.
There's interesting ways it can benefit beyond just the obvious, character level thing.
Right. There would be people who would see House Aquare having possession of it as a big deal.
Imperium, you'd probably get a bonus dice. Members of the Ecclesia, I can't remember what the keyword is for the church. Let me take a quick look here. But like the Ecclesiarchy, likewise, if they shared that as a keyword, another bonus dice. Let's see here. The Inquisition, likewise, might see that as a favored thing. So there's other ways that this might benefit you.
Well, it would be nice to not fall under the Inquisition, so it's gonna hold them off. That's
And prestige for your house is always good.
always good.
So then, you each get a wrath point. And
Oh, nice.
what would you like to do then as your next action?
Well, I'd like to assess the risk of Vendragath, to see if just taking off is just going to leave us in a potentially very dangerous situation, as upon our return, and especially if we're in a vulnerable position because we've got this art, relic with us that we have to protect.
You reminded me of something. Let me double check. I'm curious. It's not in... they've got, sorry, like one of their equivalents of the Empire's, I can't remember what they're called, the Empire's Records or whatever, that are released as, for Warhammer Fantasy 4th, they've got a series called Redacted Records in Wrath and Glory, which are kind of like, catch-all sets of rules for different things. And I think the second one might have had rules for downtime activities, similar to what they had in Soulbound and in Warhammer Fantasy 4th. Let me just quickly check that. It's only in PDF right now. It's not in print yet. But I do have... Here we go, Redacted Records 2. I could be misremembering 2, but... No, I'm misremembering. Maybe it was something else. Anyway, so I think that it sounds like you're going to be trying to track down some information with respect to this Vendragoth guy. What about you, Desura? Anything you wish to do during that time?
Would I have any other contacts on that amongst other psychers where I could find out more about the reputation of Vendragoth?
So here's what they suggest as how each of the skills are used in role-playing or social encounters. Cunning is used for street smarts and contacting criminals. Deception, to lie convincingly. Insight, to detect lies and motivations. Intimidation, to bully or threaten. Leadership, to inspire others into action. Or persuasion, to convince or to change an opinion. And typically, the attitudes of the NPCs are going to affect the difficulty modifier. So what you could try and do is, like, for instance, try and improve as a downtime action, just try to improve the relationship with an asset, and perhaps trying to make contacts with someone in, I don't know, like the unsanctioned Psyker Underground. That's probably here, Desura. Although a complication with that may lead to interactions with, those affected by the warp. So shifting attitudes are things that require persuasion or leadership, unless it's appropriate otherwise. Like they say, intimidation is particularly useful against orcs.
Yep. Well, can I do it through the sanctioned psyker route? Because there must be effectively across the houses there will be the other psychers on there. So rather than, as you say, messing with the forbidden at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unnecessarily. Yeah. And obviously they'll be guarded on what they share, but...
Well, and the complication may be that you look for help from, say, someone who is actively hunting you, right? So...
Yep.
But that sounds great. So, Ignatius, you had decided first, so what are you thinking of of using here?
I'm definitely thinking that this is more like cunning, like, you know,
Yep.
work the streets again. And obviously, it's kind of tricky because I want to make it seem like I'm also focused on getting ready to leave. So I'm kind of doing it in such a way, not that I think that the church is watching, but if they do see any of my actions, they just look like preparations to go on a journey as much as this investigation. You know what I mean? So it is kind of deception too, but it's like deception on the church, but cunning as far as like trying to learn about Vendragath.
Yeah. So let's do this. Here's your options. Is you can accept the difficulty number for this to find out, like to try and really like get a meaningful contact with Vendragoth is going to be a 5. He is a powerful and influential guy. If you make it a 6, if you bump it up by 1 to a 6, there's no chance. You don't have to make a deception roll. The church will not be thinking that you're spending time doing anything else if they're watching.
Right, if they're watching.
And
right,
it also means that a complication on that roll will not be the church knowing that you're just like, yeah, I'll get to it whenever.
Right.
You know?
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so it'll be a difficulty number of 6 you're rolling against. You have 3 points in the glory pool right now as well.
Right, and if I spend it what does it do if I spend it before the roll?
Let's just double check and see if you can spend it before or after. So spending glory. You can spend glory to add bonus dice to any test. Each point increases the number of bonus dice by once. You can only do this after the initial roll and any re-rolls or failures using Wrath. The bonus dice you gain through this option can't be re-rolled. You can only use this option once per test. That is exceptionally fucking cool.
Okay, so I roll first, and then if I need it, I can add a dice, essentially.
Up to 3 dice, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 in the thing. So that's kind of neat.
Okay, so we first re-roll cunning. Oh, I shouldn't have a bonus dice. There we go. Okay. Oh, so close.
Okay. No, you got a 6. I said it was 5, and it was bumped up from 5 to 6.
Oh,
right?
6 was the number. Oh, yeah. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. You do have 4 dice that did not result in icons.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
And I could use 1 glory to just get a bonus dice.
You could spend Wrath to re-roll those.
Oh, right, I could. Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Okay.
Because I have tons of Wrath right now. And whatever. Bad dice are always interesting, too. There's only a 1 in 6 chance of
you also
right?
can get a 6 and add to the glory pool automatically, right?
Right.
With a critical.
Oh, so close.
Nice. So that's a total of 9. Now...
But I can use my exalted dice to...
Shift. Exactly. Because now you got enough success, thanks to the 7 icons, you got an exalted icon you could shift.
Well, I mean, obviously there's one really obvious thing to go with here. I think that to do this with speed makes the most sense because I am trying to sort of like, keep the church happy, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't have an illustration for Vendragoth right now, but what I'd ask you to picture is someone who is dressed not quite like a noble, someone probably very similar to you, who has comfortably the mark of wealth and station, but someone who comfortably moves in them, a man of action.
Yeah.
You can picture someone in, I'm thinking, you know what is, if in the film version of this, we would probably cast, what's his name? Mads Mikkelsen in the role of Vendragoth.
Perfect. Yeah.
He has chalk white hair. He has the same kind of unusual, features. How is it you would like to make contact with him?
I mean, I think I'd like to meet in person, and so...
Are you requesting a meeting, or are you showing up somewhere? Because you rolled well enough to show up somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's sort of that. It's just like, learn a location he's going to be and just sort of be there, and, take the opportunity to officially introduce myself. Yeah, I like that because I'm in a hurry, right? I don't really have time to like set up a meeting and back and forth and, well, does Tuesday work for you?
Yeah.
No. Here I am. Let's talk.
Okay. I shot in the dark to see if it would search the internet for. Sometimes it searches the internet for those kind of images, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, sometimes you just get nothing.
So you are. Perhaps there is. Do you think like a public place or somewhere where you could have some privacy?
I'm thinking mild, probably normally public, like, whether it's a bar or a restaurant or something like that.
Yeah. So,
not something totally private.
Yeah, so it's perhaps somewhere he is, he's enjoying a meal at one of the, there's probably a place that, one of the floating areas here, a structure built to accommodate more of the nobility. Not a mall, but I mean something akin to that, where there would be a lot of services that those of more wealth would want to attend. So you can picture there's a lot of Imperials who are around with a lot of money. He is sitting on his own, and then you kind of pull a chair up and sit down across from him. And to sort of, where would you be when he does this? I'm assuming that you're with him when this occurs.
Yeah. At this point, it is just rather doing her usual sinister lurch impression at the...
Okay. So he looks up from his meal and says nothing.
Greetings.
He nods.
Yes, sorry to interrupt your dinner, but I'm sure you know who I am.
He sits back, takes his glass and takes a drink, sets it down, says nothing.
Well, recently we learned that you wanted my attention, as I must leave the city in the next day or two, or even the next few hours. I don't know, whatever it really is. I figured this meeting had to happen now.
He takes another sip of his wine and sits in silence.
Well, so you are the talkative type. No matter.
So can I look to, let's see, since he's no friend. Yeah, the question. So I would pass on to Ignatius. Because I can use
trying to be
my telepathy.
Yeah. So you could have tried to activate that before you went in. Because you can sustain it, right?
Thing.
Like, let me double check.
Yes. Where am I? Yeah, it's sustained.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what sustained does here. Whoopsie. Sustaining psychic powers. While you sustain a psychic power, you suffer a +2 to difficulty numbers on other tests. So it just means you'll be concentrating during that, but as long as you successfully manifest it. So go ahead and give us click on your telepathy power.
Yep. So on that one, so I will roll my dice then.
Okay. And you make your decision whether it's bound, unbound, or transcendent when you manifested it.
I'll leave it bound because it's just between us two, so it should be relatively manageable.
Okay. Come on, psychic powers ever gone wrong in? Look at that! Holy shit!
So that'll be a yes. We get to talk.
Yeah. Now, let me see if what shifting when manifesting psychic powers can give you, if anything. Let's see here. Fuck, so you know what that might just do is top up your glory pool. You guys might be going in this with 6 glory.
Holy.
So let's make that. I'm doing something wrong here.
So the potency options at the bottom, that's what you can spend shifts on. So with 3...
Yeah, we don't... Oops.
Let's just see, is there anything from telepathy that's useful? Range is in with 1. Range is increased with a factor of 10.
10. Yeah, so a range of 100 should do fine for this purpose.
That's cool to know, though. All right. So then where are you, Disura, do you think, in relation to this? Picture a... Gosh, I don't know. This would be almost like a... I mean, uniquely 40K thing, but like a gothic... Very bright. This would be in contrast to the griminess of much of the rest of the 40K setting. This would be overly inort, garishly decorated. There would be hideously baroque music playing in this place, and a wide variety of ghastly looking, either nobles or those who want to rub shoulders with them in here. Where do you think you would picture yourself?
Well, I would guess I'm still with Ignatius in my usual lurch impression, but I'm able to communicate. We're able to communicate by thoughts.
Okay, great. So you're standing behind him while he says, "Sure." So then,
inscrutable. While we and I'm like, "Do you wish me to probe him?" Factotum.
Yes.
He will be aware, but
it doesn't matter. I'm sure he's aware that you travel with me.
Okay. So then, Mind Probe. Ooh, it's an opposed willpower test. You would have to drop telepathy if you don't want to suffer that +2 difficulty number penalty.
Yep.
Are you dropping your telepathy?
Yep.
Okay. Then, so opposed willpower. All right. This is something I fucking love about this is just it's very easy to figure out what the opposed levels would be. You can just look at what would the dice pool be. He's veteran, it's 10. So, get this, get my wrath dice. Oh, and look at how much ruin I have. Oh my goodness. So, let's see what he's getting. Oh, I got a critical.
That's not good.
No, on my wrath. I mean, I get a ruin. I get a point of ruin. So why don't you give us your... Did you make your roll for...
No, I guess I'll go for it now.
Mm-hmm. So I actually need to...
So do I want to use some of our... No, I should...
Remember, glory is only after you see the results, after you've done all your rerolls.
But I can use wrath dice, can't I, beforehand?
No, wrath is a roll to reroll. You can't augment a dice.
Oh, okay,
for,
sorry. Yeah, it's got a bonus.
Yeah, it's nice. There's really no
which...
way. Like you roll and then you spend wrath to get all your rerolls done, and then, okay.
And then I guess I would reroll.
You spend wrath to reroll. Sure, yeah, why not? You've already got the result from.
There we go. That's more like it.
Yes. All right, I'm not spending any ruin to try and augment his stuff. All right, so on each of your turns that this power is active, so if you succeed, you can probe the target's mind for secrets until the power ends or until the either party loses consciousness. The target suffers 1d3 shock for each question that you force them to answer. There is a D3 button on the roll thing there. So let me just check and see how much shock this guy would have. Because he may very well pass out at his table. Okay. Okay. All right, go ahead and give us a... Click on your D3. Whoa! What is your first question?
Who hired you?
It is. Hold on. I need to get the name of the house.
Oh, actually, I should use 2 of my somethings to have him no shock and is unaware of the Psyker's intrusion.
Oh, fuck yes. Beautiful.
I just saw that as the
that's
enhancement.
awesome. Yeah. So that's 2... two shifts to do that, and you still have so much left. So what he tells you is, I actually can't find the name of the house. House Banseth.
Banseth.
Mm-hmm.
Just put that in chat. Oh, you're doing it. Thank you.
And in particular, the specific individual, his name is Tervin Banseth. Was the individual. You can do another opposed test. You're still not going to do any...
Yeah, what is their motivation?
Okay. Okay, so then let's do another contested roll, please. And that is what I'm rolling here. Okay. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 successes. You got 7 total. So he's resisting a little bit with this now, but you're able to wheedle around through it without causing any damage to his mind. And what was the question?
What is the motivation? Does he know?
Oh, to disrupt House Aquare and to test their willingness to keep their claim. Would you like to push again?
No, I think we get away with what we've got.
Okay.
We now know who it is. We can now find out elsewhere.
Okay. Then having...
Oh!
House Baniseth.
One more. What is the... no, forget it. It's boring.
No?
How much are they... What's he paying them? What's he paying them? But it'll be, extra thrones.
Right.
So...
Mm-hmm. So you have a direct view. What was the reason for asking what's being paid?
Yeah, it was just to see how much they were really, how much this house band Seth really wants this. How much? Because if they're paying a lot, then
yeah. So
are.
like that's definitely something you could ask of him, because this is unfettered access to his subconscious. Right, so you could certainly ask that. You could also ask, I wasn't sure whether, the reason I asked what your purpose was, because I didn't know whether you were hoping to buy him instead.
Oh, right. No.
So that'd be a separate question, but... So would you like to know how badly they wish to...
Exactly.
Yeah. Go ahead, let me make the roll again, and you give us yours. Ooh, 5.
And I will use another my wrath to reroll.
Okay.
There we go.
6. So I have 6 total. Whoa, shit. Those exalted ones are amazing. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, that's 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I only have 10 successes. But I got a lot of ruin, and it seems like a lot of fun for the last half hour to make things interesting. So let's spend some ruin and roll some of these. Oh, let me check. I'm going to check if boss NPCs have... I don't think they have Wrath. But, like, this guy would be... Let's resolve. They can use Wrath dice. So I think this guy's going to spend a Wrath dice. See if I can get some extra successes before spending Ruin. I got 1, 2, 3. We are currently tied. And I'm going to spend some Ruin. Two more successes. So currently I'm 2 up on you. You could spend Glory to augment yours.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's use some glory to get there. We've got plenty of that.
How much would you like to roll? You pick your number and then roll. This is a done-in-one thing. You cannot... Once you choose how much you're spending, that's how much you're rolling.
Go for a good amount.
What do you think? 3, 4?
Yeah, at least 3 or 4.
Let's go with 4 then.
Okay.
So then I roll. I need 2, right?
One thing I forgot. You have a talent that is, I can't remember what it's called, like discipline specialist or something like that. When you are using telepathic disciplines, you treat the target number as 1 lower. You actually only need 1 more.
Oh.
I forgot because I saw the willpower -1. That's why it's listed that way. Is because your telepathic specialty, one of the talents I selected for you, lowers the difficulty of your telepathic disciplines.
But
so you only need 1 more. How much glory are you spending?
Let's go with 3 anyway. Just want to be sure that we keep this guy clueless about everything. Now where is one of these dice? Okay.
So you just need 2 successes then to be able to beat
dice.
him. Oh, let me... while you're making that decision... Oh, no, but there's glory dice.
Right.
So
okay,
just click on the glory
sorry.
dice, roll those.
So I need 2 or I need 1?
You need 2 success. I think you need 2 success. Let me double check here, though. I don't know who ties go to. Opposed test.
Because I thought I only needed 1 because of my...
Well, what it is he's got 1 more. I'm just checking to see if you need to beat him.
Oh, yeah, sorry. He's got 1 more, so I need 2.
The one who scores the greatest number of icons is victorious. You need 2 more icons. What are you thinking?
Then I'll use 4, because 50-50 chance.
Just go ahead and click have 4 glory dice, and then click on those to roll.
Oh, I got the 2 anyway.
There you go. Oh. So what's it look like, what do you think, in Desura's mindscape as she pushes through this last bit of resistance that Vendragoth is offering?
Yeah, so Vendragoth, I can feel his mind resisting, and I just give it a psychic shove aside.
Wow. Get in
and
with...
suck it in.
Nice. He's not even aware as he's sitting and trying to stare down Ignatius that all of his secrets have been laid bare by you. Your final question was what it was paid. Effectively, what they are willing to do, this is a long-term project for House Banseth to disrupt House Aquare here. So whether this is something that just they see them as an adversary or it's a slight from some previous time, House Banseth is most certainly invested in seeing House Aquare fail here.
Ooh. Interesting.
So, your telepathic bond is down right now. Ignatius has exchanged his not so veiled threats with Vendragoth. Desura, do you wish to try and activate your telepathic bond again, or you just like lay your hand on his shoulder to let him know that you have the information?
Yeah, let's try and reconnect, and
Okay.
I will pass it on. Let's do that. Because you may want to do more at that point. So let me try that.
Nice. Yeah, that's DN2, so you're more than enough. You could spend a wrath and re-roll, but you would risk a...
Yeah, it's not. All I
complication.
want to do is make sure that you now
Sure.
have the info, and if you want to pursue more in the conventional way.
So I guess in the film version, perhaps, Jeff, you're sitting there and then like you see her eyes kind of twitch for a moment, and then we just see like a close up of your eye, and it kind of like your pupil suddenly expands like, oh. What happens next?
Right. Well, I'm just trying to think, like, see, because intimidation is actually not my thing. It's more about turning people to my side than. So I think what I would say is,
I'm
well,
good at intimidation.
I know you are, and I think you have maybe. I mean, this just hearing all this information. I don't know if it's gonna like intimidate them a little bit that way. Like, now listen here, Vandergrath. You may not have much to say, but you better listen carefully. Then you have currently chosen the wrong side of this little spat here in Footfall. I suggest that while we are gone on our business off planet, that you think long and hard what actions you will take when we return, and that you will choose the correct side of this going forward.
Okay.
House Beneseth, is that their name?
Banseth.
Banseth will not get the better of House Aquare.
Okay.
Oh, that's going to be a surprise for him for you to know the name.
So I
Yeah,
think
that's why I wanted to throw that in there.
Exactly.
what I'll
And
say
I will
then,
look ominous in the background then to
his
aid.
difficulty, or sorry, his let's do this then. Go to the. So, Desura, you can assist with either will or intimidation. Roll whichever dealer's choice
They're
on
the
that.
same.
Okay. Because it's just bonus dice, we ignore your wrath dice on this. There's not, if it comes up as a complication or whatnot, we ignore it. It's only bonus dice. You only ever roll one wrath dice when you're rolling. And Ignatius, why don't you roll your... Yeah, that's right. With her bonus dice, is your willpower a 4 or a 6?
Me?
Yeah, for Desura.
6.
Yeah, okay.
6.
That's more than enough bonus dice to reflect this. Give us an intimidation check there, Ignatius, and we'll treat Desura's assistance as your bonus dice for this.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Oh, not
Okay.
bad, actually.
So, how would you like to distribute those icons and exalted icons? Right now, you got a total of 4 icons and 3 exalted icons.
And what did I? Sorry, how many did I need for success?
For success, yeah, I guess there should be transparency in it. The difficulty would be a 4, so you're gonna, or his would be a 4, so you'll need 5 in order to defeat the opposed roll.
Right. So I guess I probably at this point I'm not going to spend them, right?
Shift.
So I don't have an extra one.
You do. You right now. You could get with 1 exalted icon and the regular icons. You get 6 successes, which would beat the 4. You would still have 2 exalted icons left that you could shift.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Then, let's increase the quality of the success here. Like, let's Is that one of the things I can do with it?
What you can do with
Not exactly.
the shifts is to, let's see here, get additional information.
Right.
To have a more intense effect.
Yeah, the more intense effect. Sorry, that's what I want.
So that'd be one. What do you want to do with the other one?
Maybe some more information. You know, maybe he's gonna finally spill something here now that he's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think.
Or at least say it for his something, right?
Yeah. What do you see? Let's see here. I think I'm trying to think of how he's going to reveal this. I think I don't think there's much extra information to be gained from him in this. Like, there's not something that you could tip his hand or whatnot, or oh, you know what? No. We'll do it this way. There is a fleeting glimpse that you catch, Desora.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because she was assisting on this.
She was, yeah, because she had that telepathic connection. Let me see if I've got this loaded still. This is the brief vision that he is thinking of, Desura.
No.
Whoa. Shit.
Why don't you give us a scholar check? This will be actually, hold on. What's your total scholar pool?
My total scholar pool is 5.
It's 5. Okay, so it is still. It's a DC 3 is what I was thinking, or difficulty number 3. Give us a scholar check, please. You want to wrap
that's
that?
not good. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's
3 is good enough. Yep. All right. So obviously, this is a Eldar Psyker. So you would know anything you as the player likely know about Eldar Warlocks. You would. Desura is aware of that.
Yep. Oh, that's not good.
That is worse than not good.
So you've got that in your mind,
It's
and you still have your
horrible.
telepathic connection. So you could, in fact, transfer that to almost share that directly with Ignatius.
Yep. Good news, Ignatius.
Great news.
View this vision.
Okay, so you share that, and there's a little twitch in your eye. Ignatius, how do you leave?
Nervously.
Yeah. No, I think we're still gonna put on a brave front here, like, you know.
Yeah.
Just leave confidently, like try not to sort of let on anything as far as maybe even that we've seen this vision that he had.
So you're not doing the classic you reach across, take the last of his drink.
No.
Okay. So then you guys leave, and the telepathic connection is still active for as long as you'd like to. So you can feel free to be like to debrief about what's happened.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we would speak that way walking down the streets, right? Rather than.
Desura, does telepathy allow you to communicate both ways or only one?
Oh yeah, let me check that.
Oh yeah, because that's interesting.
There you go.
Come on.
Yeah, can I speak back to you?
Things.
Seems like both. Oh, that's cool. You can use telepathy to eavesdrop on a target instead of communicating, and choose to speak at any time through the link. You can also create a communication hub.
Yeah, because it's a bit ambiguous at the beginning, but if you can eavesdrop, then it must be two-way.
Yeah, and then it says once you activate the power, communication continues until the end. Like I can't imagine that communication is intended to refer to only a one-way process. Communication would seem to be both. So, and there's no benefit to like allow them to talk. So I think that you're allowed to both communicate back and forth, share thoughts.
Yeah, and the bit below is if you communicate with more than one target, you act as a communication hub, and they can all hear one another. Yeah, so it must be two-way.
Must be the way it works. Yeah. So, what do you guys share as you're leaving this place?
You know who that vision was.
An Eldari warlock. This is sinister if this house is involved with Xenos.
Yes.
To deal with Xenos is understood, but a warlock is a different order of danger.
So we will have to use more caution then.
Not just a psyker, but a Xenos psyker.
Yes.
And the Eldar have a unique gift with psychic powers as well. Disur obviously would know there are certain things. There are things that the Eldar are capable of doing with their psychic powers that no human psyker has been capable of doing.
Which is why they should be purged.
First the heretics, the Xenos scum. Then
bring the flame.
Are they
flamer?
Would they be considered like illegals or
not necessarily? At very best, they could be considered as extremely unreliable allies. They're very unpredictable. Like, they can show up and suddenly fight on the side of the Imperium against some adversary that they happen to share, or they might trade regularly. But they can also show up on a human planet and murder every human they could find because of, 6 millennia ago, this used to be an Eldar world.
Okay.
So
he was Eldari rather than Drukhari.
Definitely Eldari, not Drukhari. If it was a Drukhari sorcerer or sorceress, they would look very, very different. They don't have that craft world kind of armor that the warlocks do. That was definitely things, and I think if you knew more, to the point where if you knew more about the particular Eldar, you could identify whether they were from a specific craft world or whether they were nomads, or definitely not the Drukhari, though. Probably not a freebooter either.
Okay.
Well.
So, what would you guys like to do next? Oh, there's Disura. We still have to find your contact, too. So.
Right. Yeah.
Disura, what were you thinking of using for you to try and track down a sanctioned psyker?
Well, I'm just trying to think. This is more about what you'd have in FFG about your connections.
Mm-hmm. So this is what this would be. What I'm going to roll it as is basically you're rolling to try and improve the. Right now, you don't know anybody here. So at best, they are disinterested, I think is the official term. If you're trying to improve their. Let's see, I think it's on.
Because this is a bit. I mean, logically, might be. I would go and attend the house.
Yeah, right now they're uncooperative or hostile. So depending on which you wish to do, to try and just improve one of those attitudes. To improve the attitude of an uncooperative one would be whatever their resistance would be, +2. The hostile is whatever the resistance would be +4. So if you want to right now reach out and try and like improve from hostile to uncooperative, seems like House Banth Seth is the only one you're currently aware of as being actively aggressive, actively hostile.
Yep.
Another contact would be probably uncooperative. Once you get into neutral, then that's someone that you might be able to call on for assistance or to exert influence over. And influence really relates to things like a trivial service, like something that they would normally do is a difficulty 1, a DN1 thing. Minor low-risk service is 3. Something that's risky, expensive, or inconvenient is 5. And even though you don't have as much influence as what Ignatius does, you can call on influence as well. I can't remember what is Desura's influence.
1.
1, okay. Life's tough for a psyker, what can I tell you?
Yeah, but what am I... so it's difficulty +2 if they're not, but what am I rolling with?
Well, that's your choice. What approach would you have?
I mean, persuasion's the obvious one, but she's so dismal at that. She would probably want to try and use it through something more like... how is leadership defined?
Leadership is defined as... for those situations, it's actually like phrased in such a way that it can be usefully used. Let's see here.
I'm thinking of it around influencing them through my capabilities
to inspire others into action. I'd buy that. Yeah. If just like that, you're a much more capable psyker. Yeah. Than what they are, then yeah. And again, like you, I don't think were born into service. It sounds like you and Ignatius fell in together over, over the course of adventures. You certainly could, depending on we'll interpret the dice results, but you might a really successful result might find someone with a common background that happened to like you, right? Okay. So this would be contested with. Let me see here. I think it would be a 3 normally, which would bump it up to a 5 because of the uncooperative aspect of it. Everyone's a little wary of, other house members. So let's see.
Woohoo. Is that tough with the 6?
Now, there are situational... One other thing I'll mention, there are situational things like, I don't know, like if you approach it in a certain way or you spend money maybe to try and like curry favor, those can be translated into bonus dice on these rolls too. So if you can think of a particular angle you'd like to take or anything, I'm happy to grant the bonus dice. And then of course you always have those 2 glory that you can use to re-roll afterwards. Also, it's past 10:30. Everyone should have had another wrath by now.
Yeah.
I can't really think that she's neither really rich enough to be flinging around, and nor is she. Her fellowship is so weak. I think she's not subtle, She's not interpersonal enough to be more clever on this, so she's going to have to rely on some lucky rolls. You
have a psychic focus, and because you're approaching other psychers, I'll give you 1 bonus dice from that.
Okay,
so you can increase the bonus dice for this roll on that skill, and then go ahead at your convenience. Look at that.
Woohoo!
Look at that! So, how do you think it is that you make this initial contact with this other psyker?
I can imagine that. I'm assuming there would be a trading district of some kind. So I would. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
What I was going to say is one thing I want to point out is that remember, with your telepathy, you could spend, as long as you got a shift on your roll, you could spend a shift to increase the range to like a kilometer. So if you're trying to contact other psychers and you know them, you very well could use that as your approach, rather than just having to deal with them in person.
Yeah, I was just thinking I'd put myself in an area where I'd expect a house psyker to be.
Okay.
Probably around the trading zone, because I would expect that the house leaders would come in and they'd bring their psychers with them. So in the main bazaar thing, so I would just be feeling out, and it would be fairly close range as to who might be a psyker.
Sure. Okay. So.
And then that would be.
Man, woman, what do you think?
Another woman.
Another
Let's
woman.
go.
Okay. So. Let me check something here. I could not find an easy list in the rulebook, Eddie, so I'm just looking for the names of the houses. Ooh. There we go. So this is a psyker named Ovina, who is in service to House Trask.
Okay.
Okay. House Trask is among their other resources. They have a vessel called the Cerberus.
That's a nice name.
Mm-hmm. So she has, kind of feels, maybe she sees you and tries to. Would you like try to instigate contact with her, or would do you think it's a matter of your waiting to see if she scans you or something like that? Because Signed Essence, I think, would a common ability all psychers have. She would be able to detect that what you are precisely.
Yeah, I think I would. There's probably, I would guess, there's some sort of etiquette on that of a surface intrusion, as it were. A tap on the shoulder.
Yeah, sure. So you get a tap on the shoulder, and she looks, and I think her initial reaction is, and again, like not without opening up fully telepathically, this sort of like guarded state. She says, "It would be unwise to attempt any hostile action on my master, Desura." I think you guys both automatically sort of knew one another's names, right?
Yep. Naturally, and not at all my intent. I'm here as a representative of House Aquari, who are new on Footfall. And I'm just looking to reach out, make contacts, and ensure that there is smooth cooperation and profit between our families. No ill intent intended.
Aquare, you say?
Indeed.
My master holds no position on the Aquare. I understand the Aquare have the ire of House Fell.
Indeed, I have heard that. Have you heard anything else? Is there any favorable, unfavorable, other than Fell?
I cannot speak now, but House Fell is not favored by my master. There may be mutually beneficial discussions to be had.
Indeed.
I will...
The enemy, my enemy, as they say. Oh, that was a bad one.
I will find you again, Desura, and I will canvass your contact with my master. I expect that there would be beneficial benefits to be gained by both houses by having open and discreet discussions.
That sounds ideal. I wish you well, lady.
Be well, Disorder. And the contact ends. How do you describe that to Ignatius?
I'll say, Ignatius, I think we make inroads. There's a contact I have now made with another house, House Trask, which may lead to benefits. We appear to share a common enemy, House Fell. And maybe in due course we can dig out some more on House Banseth as well. But it was premature to push.
Fair. Best to start with shared interest.
Yes.
Then.
And if we can help them, maybe we can inquire further on Banseth.
Yes.
So you have a date with the Hephaestium's Rest. But we, sadly, are out of time.
Yes.
So I'll bring us back to the main page here. So first off, before we get to the thanks to those who joined us, guys, what's your first time playing Wrath and Glory? What's your takeaway?
I like it. I think if we got to know the system a little better, it would be pretty rewarding.
I think it feels quite a confusing system with its meta-currencies and uses and the terminology. But I don't think that would necessarily last. It's not something that you would use for a one-shot with strangers, put it that way. That would be way down my list of games to ever use there.
Yes.
But for a long-term game, I wouldn't think it would be a problem.
Well, let me ask you this. Having, at the end of the session, we spent an hour talking about it beforehand. Do you feel that you understand the system now?
Half.
Yeah, half understand it that's a good way to put it after one game.
It's worth noting that neither of the guys have read the book whatsoever.
No. Yeah.
So, I had to read through, but again, you really need to focus. If you're flicking through it, you just bounce off it.
The choice
you get a feel. But,
yeah, like the choice to go with the specific nomenclature of icons and exalted icons, it took me a couple passes for it to sink in. I love it. I think having, I got the benefit of having read the rules through a bunch of times and whatnot. I can tell you, I had something planned, expected to be like, oh, this is what we'll do with the thing. I'm always going to be a fan of a system when I can just let the system fill in story. And that's precisely what we did for, a part of that is because of what great players you guys are. But it says a lot about the system that I can just okay, cool, we'll poke at this now, and now we'll poke at this, and now we'll poke at this. And it came out the way, that I was, honestly, better than I could have thought. We didn't even have to deal with any of the stuff I had prepped for this, because there was more than enough interesting things, and things that came out that I didn't anticipate. It says a lot when, oh, here's the carrot that you're going to chase after, the clear mission goal for it, and you guys are like, yeah, but maybe let's just go after this a little bit first before we do this, and all of the stuff that came from that was from our dice results and from the way you guys chose to approach things. And again, a lot of that comes from the players as well, but it also comes from the way you're spending your shifts, and the mechanics are the things that make a game out of what's actually going on with that. So
and we seem fairly competent, which is always nice. The tier system helps so that you can have numpty to God, but even at rank 1 of tier 2, it's pretty decently competent. You're not falling flat in your face every second roll.
Well, and I honestly didn't know how that combat was going to go with you guys. I didn't bother to double check what's a model, a balanced kind of encounter with it. And neither of you guys are really combat characters, but that was awesome. Like, that was great. And then there was an excuse for me to make a morale check, and I love having morale in any game, and it's expressly part of this one too. That just felt like appropriate to the fiction and to the expected level of competence of your characters.
Yeah, so, I liked how that played out.
It was good and quick.
Yeah. I do like as well. I think I'd like you say. I think with more. Again, neither of these guys read any of the rules before we started playing. I did a quick explanation of it. Seeing it in play, I think, is for me, it helped to figure out okay, here's what the numbers mean, and here's what the significance of these things are, and here's how I set difficulty numbers. I'm feeling confident that I would go a lot more off book with just this one session now, which I can't say of a lot of different games. And I really like the way that the two. I think that one of the things that is probably important in regular gameplay is to be mindful of feeding that glory pool, because it's a great backstop against the dice fucking you over. The fact that you don't roll that until you finish all other avenues of potential success is a big thing. That you can okay, fuck, I need to dive into this. I need to make this a success. So let's dive into this. The complications, I would want to have a little more. There is a great table you can roll on randomly, and then there's a more personalized one in combat for the different locations. But I don't think, from just playing through here, it did come up a couple of times, but it was obvious to me sort of what the complication might be for the circumstance, or there was a fun table to roll on. So I didn't find the struggle that I do sometimes with, we've had with Fantasy Flight Star Wars, with big dice pools where we're like, oh, God damn it, another fucking despair and another triumph. So what are we narrating this as? It didn't feel like it was a tiresome part of the narrative.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and also we didn't even go into what the talent selections. Each of your characters got 2 talents, Jeff, and yours has got 1. But you could have easily purchased different ones or different powers or whatever. The psychic felt, like you say, very competent, and I really like that, because as much as it's a truism of the tabletop RPG, war game, and many of the other RPGs where there's things going wrong with psychics is always kind of a thing. I like that it's not as, I don't know, having it down to an 11% chance per roll feels a lot more fun and true to the fiction in the setting, right, than what the others do.
Because in the fiction, you don't really have much in the way of blowback.
No.
It's, in theory it's there, but it never actually happens to the player characters.
Yeah, exactly. The Eisenhorn is I've only read the first novel, or listened to the book on tape, I should say. But I don't remember him having psychic complications a single time in that entire first novel. It just doesn't feel
think he
so
does in all 3.
Yeah, and the fact that it's all contested stuff feels cool too. So if you were facing someone who's a more powerful, this guy was had almost the same dice pool as what you did. So yeah, I don't know. I felt I really liked this one. I want to see what combat would be like. And beyond something that's more on your level. What you face was intended to be a defeatable adversary, but it'd be interesting to see what it's like to play with either more combat focused characters or with characters that are or just facing an adversary that is more on your kind of tier, right, but so before we get to the outro, any closing go ahead.
One other thing, one thing I bounced off on the book itself is the setting, whereas using the Coronis Expanse I think is way better.
Yeah, see, I don't know. You mentioned the same thing about the Imperium Maledictum. Honestly, I didn't read anything about either of them, and I, to be honest, didn't read anything about the Cronus Expanse until we started playing. So like for me, its setting is never going to be. It's going to be what I would choose to make up and introduce to the setting. I'm not going by the gospel of the book. So for me, I don't even know what the setting is for.
Oh well, I
Wrath
think
and Glory.
the difference is, the Corona, all the other books, Imperium Maledictum and all the FFG ones are all in that setting, which is more or less like Rogue Trader, but this one has the scenario where you're in a cut-off point, and then Eldari and orcs and everybody can all be together doing their things, and it's all very mixed parties of this and that, which, while fun, to me just seems a bit, it still feels a bit antithetical.
Like I can see
to
that
the
stuff
whole-
happening. You can get like canonically in Rogue Trader, like you can have orc explorers adventure with you, and Eldari Eldar adventures with you, but that makes sense in the Chronos Expanse where you're well outside the reach of the Imperium and whatnot too. So I completely, I knew that they had the different things. I didn't realize that that was an assumption. I will say none of the adventurers assume that. Like in the adventures they've got, you're playing like an Eldar party only, or you're playing a Rogue Trader
that
part
works
only.
well. That works good.
Good. So no, I would agree with that. Like I like the Rogue Trader setting we've got for this, where you can introduce that other stuff in. But like you're not going to play whatever. For those listening at home, your table's your table. You do whatever you want. For myself, I'm not going to want, unless there's a good reason, a Space Marine and a Eldar and a Orc, adventuring together. Though I guess there's probably a good and interesting reason if they're the only ones doing that in the thing. So I may have, maybe I changed my mind on that. But yeah.
But this all clearly work in the sort of more standard Warhammer setting, which is cool, as Rogue Traders or inside the Imperium or whatever. So that's nice. It's good. I like it. Cool.
Yeah. I think my last 2 cents would be I liked the game, and I think I've said this about other games before, and we touched on it in our comments earlier. I don't like the heavy use of specific words or nomenclature or whatever you want to say. Like, with everything's got a name, like you said, they're not called successes, they're called
icons
and
exalted icons,
and just like all that terminology makes a complex game system more complex, just because trying to remember the correct terms and all that just adds to it in a not very meaningful way in the end for me. And I would just advice to any game designers out there, whatever, the more you can just use the word that people are expecting for the thing, as boring as it seems, it makes your game much more playable and quicker for people to really get into and enjoy the mechanics that you've spent time creating, and not fussing with the trying to express how they want to play the game.
It is, and I think like the game is. We had this with like Lex Arcanum, James mentioned, but like Dangerous Journeys was like that too, because of the fear of velocity. They changed all the nomenclature of everything in the game, so that's
the one I was trying to think of that we played. That I had the same complaint of, like, I love the game, but like every word is something different than you're expecting, and it's so hard to get into it.
Yeah, and it's like with playing in the future, like what we could do is we could use the phrase exalted success and exalted success, right? The exalted distinction is necessary because you can do certain things with it, with the ability to shift. And I think having a better sense of what you can and cannot do with shifting would make that run smoother. I really do think that they need, like, they emphasize it to a degree, but I think a big glory pool and maintaining that glory pool is a really necessary part of more challenging dice rolls. Like the 2 challenging dice rolls I think you guys had, that's basically where you empty that out.
Yeah.
Right? So knowing that, in the same way, like feeding Doom in 2D20 games is an important part of that thing. In order for the game to be fun at the end when you're fighting a boss or whatever, you need to have a big Doom pool for that. And similarly, having that glory pool at a certain point or maintaining it is a pretty important backstop against just shitty dice rolls with Wrath.
Right. So it's nice where your characters are fairly highly competent, and the stuff leading up to the sort of main fight is where you can build up the glory.
Yeah. And it's actually, Oh, go ahead, James.
No, because you want to keep churning, right? It's like 2d20. You want to keep spending lots of momentum, which generates more, and then it becomes a virtuous circle that you keep throwing things in, just like here. You keep using your wrath and your glory and all the rest of it, and it kicks back in because you then earn more back.
And
it's much more fun then.
It's definitely more fun, and the two things, though, are the function of the glory pool that I think are not better, but I think is a little more heroic, or a little more, I don't know. It's on the right side of the table, because Doom is, you guys make a decision, but it just happens to feed towards the GM side. Glory, you guys know precisely what it is and how you feed that and how you maintain it. And then once you've built that up, it's only used when necessary. It's not like a momentum pool, or not like Doom where it's just built up and never fucking used. It's only necessary when you need it. We're like, shit, I didn't get the number of successes I want, so I'm going to put my glory into this and get that, that one chance at getting the extra successes I need. And that, to me, feels like, the agency is on the side of the players to get like, okay, guys, we're building up to a point where we're going to want to face stuff. We need to make sure we keep that glory pool up, because we've all played through adventures before, and we know the pacing of it and what's going to happen near the end of a whatever kind of adventure, whether it's fighting or otherwise. And you're only going to have to tap into that stuff in the interim when necessary, when absolutely necessary.
Right. I definitely feel like our regular Rogue Trader game would benefit from these kinds of mechanics a little bit, It's interesting to see how differently, I don't know, did you guys feel that, setting aside the fact that you were still trying to sort out the mechanics, did the characters feel like they were occupying the same world, as it were, as what the other characters were, or did they seem to swim in, different oceans? Did it feel like you were in the world of Rogue Trader, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think because yeah. Just that, because I mean the description, all of the trappings are there. The mechanics still work with the trappings. I think I was going to say, back to your point, Jeff, earlier, is when you got splitting the game mechanics from the setting, you want the two to cooperate, because that makes for a great combo. But make your mechanics clear rather than full of atmosphere. Don't try and infuse your setting in your mechanics. Infuse it all into the setting and make lots of fun out of that. Because I love setting, don't get me wrong, but when you start trying to ram it into the mechanics, you just make it harder to understand.
It's the naming convention. I genuinely, it took me longer for it to grok that's what they meant with the icons when I read the game both times, because I've owned both versions of this game. The first game, I was just like, okay, this doesn't make sense to me, so I'm just not going to run it. And to be honest, I didn't really like there were other aspects I didn't like about the original version of it. This version, I liked a great deal before I ran it, and I love it now. I notwithstanding the difficulty or the complexity of the nomenclature and whatnot, how you make use of stuff, I think sitting down and just playing probably would be how I would approach introducing the next group to it, because you could pick it up over time, and it's probably easier seeing it in play than going through the long descriptions and the sample rolls and whatnot that we did beforehand. But I would probably consider renaming conventions of like shifting and whatnot. The shifting, it makes sense, but like I'm not sure what term you would use. But shifting feels like not the right phrase to use for what it does. Like, I guess you're sort of shifting it. If you're calling it an exalted success, why not just call it exalting? If you need to pick a term beyond, like, I'm going to spend it into this, or I'm going to spend it into that.
Right.
I'm taking my exalted success and I'm going to spend it into the glory pool, or I'm going to exalt it into the glory pool, or I'm going to exalt it into whatever else. Shifting suggests an adjacent movement, not a advancement in things. So I'm splitting hairs here, but like there's the shifting nomenclature again. I'm used to it now after spending one session with it, and like I'm used to switching games, and then like I get used to this kind of stuff anyway. But I think that it's another one where like, why did you choose that as the phrasing on it? It just doesn't feel like it's common to any other game. And when you already have a kind of a unique way of making use of dice results, specific dice results, why complicate it further by obfuscating it behind a couple of uncommon terms that are used, right?
Right.
When at the end, it's a matter of using it for successes or not. So, yeah. That said, the nomenclature shit, I said it for those listening home, I mentioned to the guys before, like, it annoyed me when I was learning the game and whatnot, and I was trying not to do it, but I'm glad to say it wasn't just me being, overly precious with nomenclature. It is a kind of it is a potential, not a barrier, but like it's another hurdle you need to get over in order to learn how the game works. Really,
I felt it at the table.
Yeah. And like when you get to a 6, yeah, I think. But I mean, what I will say from the GM side of the table, you guys made great fucking decisions with mechanically on how to spend those points and how to take advantage of them, right? Like the intention, I think, with a lot of the shifting of the exalted dice is to flesh out a lot of that story component, and you guys got it to a point where I actually had to really think about how to take advantage of that, because it was a good use of like, what other information can I get from this? I'm like, motherfucker, I didn't think about what you could get from that, so hold on, let me stew this over. But once it kind of sprung to mind, I'm like, oh, this is how I can get it across based on what we've got in the fiction. Like I really appreciated and liked how you guys made use of those existing mechanics to do that. And your powers too, James, too, of using the shifts to tweak your power on the fly. That to me feels very fucking cool, and I like that there's a limited list with it too.
I really liked how that scene played out.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. There's psycho rules seem pretty solid.
Well, and the influence rules, I'll put a nod to too. I know we said initially we're going to use it. I really loved that. Anything that reflects, mechanically a way of doing something with just your reputation. It's something that rarely comes up in games. And when it does, it's so often a background element. I really love that this has that, especially for this type of campaign, a Rogue Trader campaign. It's fucking cool that the Rogue Trader can be like, I'm a wheeler and dealer, and here's how I can do shit in the game as the wheeler and dealer.
Yeah. Totally.
Right? Like that's the meaning. Oh, yep. We didn't even get. God dang, I didn't. So let's just quickly tell you, and then I'll do the outro. I forgot to mention, each archetype, like the way you make a character in this, you pick an archetype, you get an archetype ability with that, and then you build your character based on that. The archetype ability for Rogue Trader was your Warrant of Trade, which. Oh, this is already added in. You gain a rank bonus to all persuasion tests and to influence tests to acquire goods and services. So if you're looking to purchase anything or pick something up, that's how you would go about. You get that bonus just from your Warrant of Trade. And once you hit rank 2, that would be +2. Rank 3, +3. And that's all within the same tier. The Psyker, you just get psychic powers. That's your archetype ability for that. Any last thoughts, guys, on this?
No, good. It's good session.
Yeah. Jeff, any last thoughts?
Fun.
Nothing. Yeah. So I guess that's
enjoyed it. Yeah.
Always the closing verdict. It's a game that you would play again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Nice. Then for those, I would absolutely. Yeah, I've had the benefit of having read through the book a couple of times now, and in prepping for it today, I'm excited to see what more we can do with Wrath and Glory. Really enjoyed prepping and running the session. So, for those listening at home, though, as is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we played today, please do not hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There's also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where all of us are active, and we have a channel there dedicated to Warhammer RPGs and most other games we run on the channel, most of our campaigns as well as a ton of other great channels like Finding a Group or GM Discussion or convention information, lots of great people and lots of great folks. You're more than welcome to join us over there. There is also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have a terrific selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. If they do not have something in stock that's listed in their extensive catalog, you can put it on a want list and they'll send you an email when it comes in. And if you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code Fall Muser, all caps, all one word. It's listed in the video down below or description. That is good until January 15th, 2024. It'll save you 10% on your purchase. And if you're listening to this after that time, just come back to one of our more recent videos and you'll find what the current discount code is. There's also a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages. It's the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really amazing organization active in over 130 countries around the world, benefiting over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children. And all donations that go through that link go directly to benefit the kids who benefit from the SOS Children's Villages activities. You can find all about them by following that link. None of the money goes to the channel or any other middleman. It just goes to benefit the kids who benefit from their services. And we've just finished wrapping up our Year of Ill Omens year-long charity campaign. We'll have more information about what other ways we have to say thanks to the donors in the new year. Last thing I will say, speaking of thanks, is a huge thank you to our stalwart agents. So James and Jeffrey, thank you so much for giving this a try. You guys were thrown in at the last minute with some pre-gens and with a very, a game that can be very unintuitive in many ways. So guys, I really appreciate you giving me such a great experience for the first time running this game. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for running it. I want to try for a while.
Then for those listening at home, we will be back in the Chronos Expanse in the new year because this is going to be our last session of our Warhammer 40K Friday night games, but we will be back in the Chronos Expanse in the new year. And until then, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that House Aquare seems to be getting into on footfall. But until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.